Chris, welcome to one of the most famous venues in all of football, the Orange Bowl. It's seen the great era of Miami dominance, but after falling off the radar, stand by. The Canes are forming once again. The football radar is active again in Dade County. Butch Davis and the Canes are storming toward a conference title. The skilled Miami offense moves with precision and fury through the thick South Florida air. They have a lightning-quick back, giving them the edge on the ground. And those who read the patterns are calling for a good chance of Wayne, toss in some Moss, and the Canes are once again eyeing a return to glory. Football weekend starts in South Florida as Miami takes on Pittsburgh. Welcome to Thursday Night Football. Mike Tirico with Todd Blackledge. Well, very simply, Miami's going to be on national TV their last 3 games. It's a chance for you at home, this step 1, to see if the Canes are back, as some people are saying. They play Pitt tonight. Syracuse likely for the conference title next week. And then UCLA here on ESPN on December 5th. Let me ask you, some of what we're going to see tonight, is Miami back?
Well, one thing that is back for sure is the speed. Their skilled people on offense are outstanding, the way the old Miami teams were. Now, they're not as good up front on either side of the ball as they used to be, and they don't have the depth that their championship teams have. But give them a chance. This is a young team. 71 of the 102 players are freshmen and sophomores. They're getting close to being back.
Well, one thing they do have is a very good running back in Edgerrin James in a conference that has very good running backs. James is right there in the same breath as the other big names.
And Edgerrin James is a better running back right now than he was earlier in the season. He's not trying to make every play a big play. The last 3 weeks, he has really answered the challenge of these other backs. Versus Amos Zaraway in West Virginia, 162 yards. Zaraway had 113. Then it was Mike Cloud in Boston College, 182 yards, 75 for Mike Cloud. Last week against Temple, he had 137 yards. The whole Temple team only had 80 yards. Coming in, they were the #1 ranked running team in the Big East Conference. Last 3 weeks, Edgerrin James has been a force for this offense.
James, the skilled players, a 50-year senior quarterback. Miami's got it all going right. We'll bring you inside the Orange Bowl for kickoff and tell you why this is a little bit of a heated rivalry as Thursday Night Football continues. Well, Pittsburgh's always played well on Thursday Night Football. 4-1 over that stretch, including last year. To remind us about that, we welcome in Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Michael, and hello, everyone. You know, a year ago, a multifaceted Pittsburgh offense spearheaded the upset of then 21st-ranked Miami. But the architect of that upset, quarterback Pete Gonzalez, is now a Pittsburgh Steeler, and much of their senior leadership has graduated. And you couple all that with the absence of an effective running game this year, and it's not hard to understand why Pitt is currently 2-6 today. Fifth-year senior quarterback Matt Lytle is left with a one-dimensional offensive package. Basically, his whole offense is a short passing game using 3, 4, and 5 wide receiver sets. And to add to his woes tonight, he'll be without leading receiver Lateef Grimm, who suffered a concussion 1 week ago against Boston College. In other words, to make it simple, Pittsburgh head coach Walt Harris is running out of weapons. And tonight, he's even short on bullets. Mike?
Doc, there is Walt Harris, who turned 52 10 days ago. Last year, he took Pitt to a bowl game. First time the Panthers have been to a bowl in the 90s. Their only victories this year against Akron and Villanova. They played close games. On the opposite side, emerging through the smoke, which is part of a 4-decade tradition in Miami football, is Butch Davis. His real first name is Paul. Turned 47 on Tuesday. Of course, on Jimmy Johnson's U of M staff for 5 years. Looking to get the Canes to a 3rd bowl game in his 4 seasons this season. Well, it is a September-type feeling night in Miami. 87 degrees. The high pushed 90 in parts of South Florida. The forecast is clear, but that humidity is 72%. Considering, as Todd, you were up in Pittsburgh earlier this week, the Panthers were not practicing in 87 degrees and 72% humidity.
Now, I'll guarantee you, Dr. Punch and I were standing out on the practice field Tuesday afternoon, and it was very cold and rainy, and there's no way you can simulate this humidity in these conditions. And it won't be a factor early in the ball game, but eventually, particularly some of the defensive backs that play on all the special teams, it really could be a factor before the night's over.
So nice to be back in the Orange Bowl. This may not be the classy facility that it once was or that other stadiums are, but Todd Sievers and the rest of the Hurricanes get to play in truly one of the great buildings in the sport. Sievers has been a big factor as a freshman. With those touchbacks, about 1/3 of his kicks, he'll be kicking to Hank Poteet. He's a pretty good return man in his own right. Good setting for college football. There is Poteet, averaging 22 per return on the season. He's a starting cornerback for the Panthers, who has picked off a half dozen passes this year. Miami has the table set. Win the next two, and they'll play in one of the BCS Bowls. There is another Sievers touchback. This freshman becoming a big weapon for the Canes. So taking the field is the quarterback Matt Lytle that Jerry told you about. Let's see who'll be working with him in the back. But they don't run the ball very well, Pittsburgh. Bottom of the conference, Brandon Williams, top 20 high school running back coming out of prep days, gets his 8th start of the year. Wide receivers, Jerry told you about the injury to Grimm. R.J. English, a walk-on last year, comes off his best game, 7 catches against Boston College. And up front, a shoulder injury keeps Ethan Weedle out, so Justin Wade steps in to the right guard spot. Opening drive of Thursday Night Football starts from the 20. And Williams has no room to run. The Canes defense is active and angry. Only Virginia Tech stops the run better in the Big East. And Derek Ham has 11 sacks. A chance to break the Miami single-season record of Daniel Stubbs, inducted into the School Hall of Fame just a few moments ago. The linebacking court, Dan Morgan, is really good, one of the top tacklers in the conference. Chevin Marshall gets the start because Nate Webster injured in the middle. There's a weakness. It's the secondary. They're last in the Big East in pass defense. Edward Reed has 2 of the team's 5 INTs. One back for 2nd and 10. And no room for Williams. Just a yard for Brandon, the freshman out of New Kensington, Pennsylvania. And early we see Miami's got the big athletes up front, Todd.
Well, and they got athletes that can run. And that's the thing, when you try to run the football on Miami, there may be a hole there momentarily, but that doesn't stay open very long. You take a look at what they did last year, stopping the run. They were atrocious this year. Great improvement in their run defense, and it's because they're a little bigger up front, and those linebackers are a year older, and they can really run to the football.
2 runs, 1 yard, 3rd and 9, sends Lytle to the air. Miscommunication, but a penalty marker is down. Julius Dixon was the intended receiver. He tried to come back for the ball, and his way was impeded by a green Canes jersey. Defensive holding will keep the drive alive.
Very favorable penalty for Pittsburgh because there was no open receiver there. Really not a good place for Lytle to throw.
We're going to play fourth pass, crosses line, 10 yards, automatic first down.
Gives him the first down. Here you see Julius Dixon again working on Marquise Fitzgerald, and just the contact that...
Butch did make a nice grab on that pass. That pass was coming right at Butch Davis, who made a good catch, but you saw the penalty problems. There is Nate Webster out with an injury. It's turf toe. He's the 2nd leading tackler, the middle linebacker on the Miami defense, out of the lineup. Lytle, play action to the air on 1st down. Launching. Incomplete. There was contact, but no flag, as R.J. English was the intended receiver. He's the guy replacing their top threat, Latif Grimm.
Well, English has good speed. The one thing they say about 6'3", 200, has very good speed. But that time you saw that the coverage of Fitzgerald had pretty good speed too, because he was beat initially and was able to make up that ground and get in there and make a play.
He can move, perhaps the fastest receiver on the Panthers. Chris Snyder is the lone back. He stays into block, and English makes the catch out of bounds after a pickup of 4. It was Leonard Myers, the sophomore right cornerback, taking English out of bounds.
One of the biggest things that Walt Harris has going for him, he's a very good play caller, and he does a nice job of keeping a defense off balance. Right now, he's not allowing the ball to stay in Matt Lytle's hands very long. A lot of quick throws, get rid of the football, don't let Miami get a sack or something to get them all riled up right now. Try to move the football with short possession throws.
Lytle and the Panthers face 3rd and 6. And Dixon, the wide receiver, in motion. Lytle looking up the middle, incomplete. A little late for Juan Williams, the tight end, and Pittsburgh will kick it away. The active Edward Reed again a factor.
Reed was the defender for the Hurricanes.
Well, now Miami comes out to try to cause some havoc on special teams, and you know very well that Greg DeBolt, the Pittsburgh punter, is well aware that Miami's come up with 4 blocks this year. Quick 2-step getaway to Santana Moss, who takes it on the run at the 25. Moss picked up 5. The Panther defense rallies the troops as Kareem Thompson makes the stop. A 5-yard return after a 40-yard punt. Here is the Canes offense. Scott Covington coming off his poorest passing game of the season, but his TD to interception ratio 15-5 for the 50-year senior. The receivers, Reggie Wayne, 48 catches last year. He broke Michael Irvin's freshman record, 38 already this season. Up front, Robert Hall's one of 2 players switched over from defensive line to offensive line by Butch Davis, and is leading a unit that is surprising in its good play this year. Covington gives to James. And a yard or 2 for Edrin. Ryan Gonzalez in on the stop. He's going to be a focal point for this Pittsburgh defensive storyline tonight. Up front first, Kenny Pegram, their best defensive lineman, really surprised them with his pass rushing ability, but has been slowed by shin splints. Say that fast 3 times. Ryan Gonzalez starts for the senior leader, Phil Clark. Feel bad for Phil Clark, Miami kid, missing this chance to play in his hometown, and we told you about Poteet on the kick return. 6 interceptions, tied for the national lead in picks per game. 2nd and 8, sends Covington to the air. 3 receivers in the pattern. Wide open on the opposite side is James. Edrin James into Pittsburgh territory and still on his feet. Edrin James, touchdown! "68 yards, his 2nd touchdown reception of the year."
Well, they ran Edrin James on the first play. Now they fake it to him on the bootleg. Looks like he's going to stay in to block and then just like slips out. And Covington does a nice job of just being patient and allowing the defense to totally flow to the other side of the field before getting the football back to Edrin James. And you see what he can do in the open field.
Andy Crossland on to try the extra point. Out of Jeff Popovich's hold, and Miami, the quick strike offense of the Canes. They've done it so many times this year. 2 plays. They move 70 yards and take a 7-0 lead.
ESPN's presentation of Thursday Night Football is brought to you by 10-10-3-2-1. Just dial it and save up to 50%. And by Propecia. Talk to your doctor today.
Welcome back to South Florida on a beautiful Thursday night. Miami leads 7-0. We told you about the quick strike Canes in 98. 41 touchdown drives. And look at how quick they go. Boom, boom. That one was just 2 plays and less than a minute to get the first score of the game. The Edrin James touchdown reception. It was a nice job by Covington, and Todd's going to show you why. After Todd Seaver's kickoff to Hank Poteet, the junior out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who is a threat and gives Pitt good field position. He can get his hands on it. Taken wide, one of the up receivers, it's English, and RJ returns it out to the 33-yard line. All right, what did Covington do so good here, Todd?
Well, he fooled these linebackers. These are the guys you have to watch. Now, Trey Creighton has to stay with the tight end on the crossing route. But when James comes out, watch those two inside linebackers. Just watch the quarterback and flow with the quarterback. Nobody stays out here watching the back. And Covington just lets it develop. He sells it, and then flips it out to James. And again, you see what Edgerrin James can do in the open field. He can run over you, or he can make you miss. Well-conceived play. They took advantage of those young linebackers.
First and 10. The Panther drive starts from their own 33. Kevin Barlow gets about 5.5 yards. Good tough running over the left side of the offense.
Edgerrin James, I'm really impressed with him, watching him on film in the last couple weeks. I mean, he's got the whole package. He's 220 pounds, so he's physical and strong enough to run through you and break tackles, but he also has really nifty feet. He can make people miss. He can jump in and out of the holes. He has the speed to outrun you. He is a very, very good-looking running back.
After a pickup of 6, Todd, it's 2nd and 4, and Lytle, who has his capability, gets a couple of yards, chased down by Michael Lawson. Go down to the Orange Bowl turf and Dr. Jerry Punt.
After the initial Pittsburgh possession, Matt Lytle came over to the sidelines, and the head coach is, of course, Walt Harris, also one of the best quarterback coaches in the country. He and Harris were talking, and Harris basically was telling Lytle, just simply calm down. Maintain your composure. Matt was a little frustrated with some of his hurried throws behind the last one, behind the tight end, that cost him to have to punt. He said, simply calm down. Read your progressions. Maintain your composure. And if it's not there, tuck it and take off.
Directing traffic for 3rd and 4. The Canes bring 6. Lytle fires for the first down. Nice pass to Terry Murphy. The split end out of bounds at the Miami 45.
You know, just to follow up on that point Jerry was making, that seems to be the problem that Walt Harris has had with Matt Lytle all year, is he's wanted him to just calm down and play within the system. Lytle is a very emotional player, and sometimes his emotions carry him outside the realm of the system, and he doesn't make the kind of plays. He doesn't operate at a high level of efficiency. He's got the talent. You see, he's got a big league arm. He's got some escapability, but if he doesn't stay within the system and play with the right kind of temperament, it's very hard for him to make this offense work.
15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions for the senior quarterback this year. Miami jumped offside. Lytle took a knee, and the Canes are saying they made us do it. John Smith Jr., the ultimate arbiter.
Dead ball, offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
It was you, Michael Lawson. ESPN this week has College Game Day, Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Chris Lee and Kirk headed to Tennessee. Then at noon, BC West Virginia out of the Big East. BYU Utah on the Deuce at 1:30 Eastern. At 3 o'clock, Penn State Wisconsin could be for the Badgers Rose Bowl trip. Then 2 rivalries that have seen better days. South Carolina, Clemson, Auburn, Alabama, but still the passion in those great games. This Saturday, the lineup on ESPN. And the Deuce. On 1st and 5, Barlow gets it up. Kevin, the sophomore out of Pittsburgh. Peabody High School. Run for 3 touchdowns this year. And that has been the problem for this team. They can throw the ball, but they don't run it very well. 123 yards per game at the bottom of the Big East.
But they have to be able to establish some kind of run to take the edge off this quick Miami defense. The only way that this pass offense can work is if you get them on their heels a little bit, and that's where Walt Harris is really at his best, trying to keep things mixed up.
On 2nd and 3, there's Barlow busting forward and close to first down yardage. Dan Morgan making the tackle.
A couple hard runs by Barlow so far in this first quarter, sticking his nose in there, and you've got to run north and south at this defense. This is not a defense that you want to tiptoe and dance around the holes and try to get outside. It's a defense you have to attack, run right straight at them. Kevin Barlow looks pretty good running the football up in between the tackles right now.
A lot of players from the Pittsburgh area on this team, and Western Pennsylvania is so good for high school talent. You see they are inches short. Well, Pittsburgh ran the ball a little bit more effectively last year, but as you see, in the last 2 years, the offense has not produced very well. But with Pete Gonzalez at the helm of the Walt Harris pass-based system, the lack of a running game wasn't as much of an impact last season as it has been this.
Well, they had a couple experienced guys last year in Schulters and West that carried the ball pretty well. Your quarterback's 6'4", 225. May just want to go quarterback sneak right here, get in behind the center.
Lytle was leaning that way, and the push from the fullback behind, Chris Fiola, helped get Lytle across the 35 and move the chains for the Panthers. A little help from your friends here, huh?
Well, they got a good push up front from Grishaw, the center. Gets right in there. They just kind of wedge block, and then a little help from behind. Fiola, the fullback. Little assist on the play.
Walt Harris has worked with great quarterbacks before. Boomer Esiason when he was with the Jets, and Boomer really sings the praises of Harris's impact. Lytle steps up and throws over the head of R.J. English. He's in man coverage with Leonard Meyer. Lateef Grimm on the sidelines. What a disappointment not to see him. As Jerry mentioned, 9 touchdowns, best in the Big East. 54 receptions this year and an average of nearly 16 per catch. This is a player who really is one you must account for when you go up against Pittsburgh. Suffered a concussion when hit by the big hitting safety of Boston College, Pedro Serino, late in Pitt's loss last week to the Eagles. 23-15. Lytle on second down. Again, intended for R.J. English. For third down, here's Jerry.
You guys mentioned Lateef Grimm. Now, what he suffered was a grade 2 concussion. That means a loss of consciousness less than 5 minutes. And the reason he couldn't play is you have to be symptom-free for 7 days. He got the concussion last Saturday, and it won't be 7 days until this Saturday. If this game were being played on Saturday, he would be on the playing field. But by the criteria, he is not dressed, and we'll watch this one tonight.
The sophomore, who the Panthers hope they'll see against West Virginia when their season closes a week from tomorrow. And that game's at Three River Stadium. 3rd and 10. They need to get across the 25. Intercepted on the deflection. It is Delvin Brown. Lytle threw it in traffic, and the sophomore out of Miami's Carroll City High School catches Lytle's 12th interception of the year.
Well, you called it, Mike. Lytle did throw this one into traffic. You know, when you roll out like that, it does a good job of not setting up in the same spot, but it limits where you can throw the football.
Leonard Myers shaken up. We'll check his condition, and Miami has the ball on offense when we come back. On first down, Edgerrin James gains a yard or 2. It will be 2nd and 8 as Miami takes over inside its own 20. Good news for Canes fans. Leonard Myers came off the field under his own power after the Lytle interception.
Let's go back to the interception now. Walt Harris does a good job of rolling his quarterback out so that Miami can't get a bead on where he's going to set up every time. But right here now you see he sees Terry Murphy, and Murphy was open for a second. But as he continued to move in his momentum, the defense continued to move. At that point, he threw it into traffic.
Penalty markers down, perhaps a substitution infraction on Miami. Looks like they had a dozen in the huddle.
Illegal substitution on the offensive team. Breaking the huddle with 12 men. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
The penalty.
There you see Lytle and Walt Harris in a constant conversation. Is it a distraction when the head coach is that involved in the offense and the passing game?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a real help that you can come off the field and talk to him and know that he has a feel for the game and what the plays are being called. I think it's a help.
2nd and 13. Covington, big ball for Santana Moss. Incomplete. The closing by D.J. Dinkins. That ball was up in the air for quite some time. Dinkins, another Pittsburgh area high school performer.
We talked to Bill McGovern, the secondary coach, on Tuesday. He thought they were going to challenge his free safety, D.J. Dinkins. And right now he's beat, but he's 6'4", and I think his height and size is what enabled him to get back into that play. He doesn't have the speed to stay with Santana Moss, but he had that arm reach to get back and get a hand on the football. Nice recovery by Dinkins.
Canes go 3 receivers, and Daniel Franks, the tight end, on 3rd and 13. Covington is flushed and is sacked. Hard to the deck, back at the 2-yard line. Pete Simonian comes up with his 3rd sack of the year. Pete played a little bit of Canisius up in Buffalo, his high school days, then played at Boston University. Their program went away and went to Pittsburgh and knocked down Covington back deep in his own territory.
He's got a great motor, plays at a high intensity level. He's been out for the last 4 or 5 weeks with a neck injury. They just got him back for this ball game.
Andy Crossland backed up deep. Quickly away to Poteet. Backpedals to catch it at his own 49. Nice kick by Crossland and well covered by the Canes. Just a 2-yard return. Pat Del Vecchio down to clean up a 50-yard punt with just a 3-yard return. Good field position for Pittsburgh. Panthers trail 7-0. Well, when you're talking Miami against Pittsburgh, well, the name Dan Marino has to come to mind, the great Dolphin quarterback who was the quarterback at Pitt from 79 to 82. Dan watching his alma mater on the sidelines here at the Orange Bowl where his NFL career got started. Pitt in good field position from the 48. They drive Barlow. Kevin takes it down to the 45. And it's Dan Morgan along with Damian Lewis in on the tackle. Dan Marino, when he left Pitt, checked out as the all-time passing leader, 8,597 yards and 79 touchdown passes. As you see, that's now 2nd at Pittsburgh all-time.
Had the pleasure of going against him head-to-head a couple of years. Boy, he was a heck of a player, no question.
After the pickup of 3, it is 2nd and 7. Lytle to the air. A tremendous catch. Terry Murphy went up one-handed and snatched it down. The Panthers in the red zone, 31 yards. Wow.
You know, it looked like Terry Murphy mistimed his jump. It looked like he jumped too soon for this ball, but he was still able to catch it on his way back down, maintain the concentration. What a great grab with good coverage by Fitzgerald, but a huge catch by Terry Murphy.
Well, the split end from Los Angeles deserves a pat on the back for that good play. Kenny Ketching now checks in his stead. Hits move the ball okay. It's been the story of their year. Great inside the 20s. Struggling down here. Option, the mobile Lytle falls forward for 4. Ed Reed, the ankle tackle.
Pitt's not a real high percentage option team, but they've got enough of it in their offense to keep you honest. Another way to take a little bit of that aggressive edge off of a defense like Miami, make them play assignment football on defense. And Lytle did a nice job of making a quick decision to turn upfield and getting as much as he can up the field. You don't want to try to stretch that thing out too far.
Well, the red zone numbers are not bad, Todd, but when they've gotten in close games, they've struggled down here. Did last week as well. That pass behind Terry Murphy and incomplete.
And you see Murphy signaling to Lytle, keep that ball outside. Throw it outside to my outside arm. That's where I had position. He's got single coverage here, and if the ball's thrown outside, Murphy can make an easy catch. The ball's thrown too far to the inside. Very tough catch for Murphy to make. He was expecting the ball to hit him on his outside arm, not to the inside.
Play is still coming in. Play clock is at 12, and Lytle is forced to burn the Panthers' first time out here 2/3 of the way through the first quarter. So Lytle will come over to pick out an important 3rd down play here with Walt Harris. His points are not a guarantee down here. Pittsburgh has struggled from a field goal standpoint this year. Although the Panthers are on a 5-game losing streak, they have not been blown out. They have hung around, been within 10 points of every game in the 4th quarter. And we're not talking like a late score to get it into, you know, a single-digit range. They've been competitive, but haven't been able to put it together, which I guess is the thing so many teams talk about this time of year when they haven't had a season that they had hoped. Well, we saw Dan Marino before. He's on the sidelines now with Jerry.
Well, Dan, we talked about Miami, the Hurricanes trying to get back. How about Pittsburgh trying to get back to the glory years when you were there? A lot of people excited about the job Walt Harris is anticipated to be able to do.
Well, that's very true, Jerry. I think, you know, Walt, everybody's excited about it. He's the coach that has done well, and this year they're not having a year they quite want to, but he's a guy that's really done well for him, and I think in the future, you know, the team will continue to grow, and maybe we can get back to the days when we were a powerhouse.
All right, Dan, if you'll hang on just a moment, we're going to go back up to Mike Tirico and come back down and chat here just a moment after the play. Mike?
All right, right, Doc. And Dan would be happy to be in offense throwing it a whole bunch of times. 3rd and 6 from the 11. 5 receivers, no backs. The line gives Lytle time. Touchdown, R.J. English. A 10-yarder. Just like Marino used to throw for the Panthers. Second touchdown of R.J. English's career. Pittsburgh has done a very nice job moving the ball here with that passing game.
And mixing things up, running the football, little options, short passes, trying to take some chances down the field. A nice mixture of play calling so far by Pitt.
Nick Lott's one of 3 kickers used by the Panthers, adds the extra point. And Pittsburgh takes advantage of the field position to tie it at 7.
Mike, I'll show you what Matt Lytle saw. He saw these 2 safeties, so he knows he has a hole right here in the middle of the field, and English is just going to work his way into that soft spot of the defense. He gets around the linebacker, and Lytle hits him right in the middle between the 2 safeties. R.J. English just finds a little soft spot right beyond Dan Morgan's reach, and it was a nice throw by Matt Lytle and a good recovery by Matt Lytle.
So we are all locked up at 7 apiece, and there you see a nice Pittsburgh drive with Lytle hitting the 2 big passes, one to English and one to Murphy to set up the score. Now we saw Doc with Dan Marino. We'll get back to them right after this kickoff. And when we talked about Dan's numbers at Pitt, he is now 2nd on the all-time Pittsburgh list. We'll give you another minute at home. Who is number 1 on the Panthers all-time list in terms of career passing yards? Another minute to think about the man who passed by Dan Marino. James Jackson. Now Jay Davenport back to take Lott's kick. It is a short one taken by Jackson at the 10. Well covered. Good directional kick. They'll start from the 26, and we go back to Jerry.
Dan Marino and I are here talking a little NASCAR racing. He's a NASCAR car owner. He's just telling me he drove at Talladega, drove Bill Elliott's car at Talladega a few months ago at 180 miles an hour. No one knows that, but now everybody knows it.
Not quite that fast.
175 maybe?
It gets faster every time I tell the story, you know.
Hey, how about Matt Lytle? You've had a chance to see him for a few series. Your impressions of the young Pitt quarterback, or the senior Pitt quarterback?
Obviously, he can make plays. He just made a play for a touchdown for us. I know he's a guy that can move around and has the ability to throw the football and make plays for us. And we're right back in the game now.
All right, after this play, we'll come back and visit a little more with Danny Marino. Mike?
Jerry, 1st and 10. A drive start from the 26. Entering James. With quick feet to bounce it outside for 4 yards. Go ahead, Doc.
The Dolphins this year, Dan, 7-3, basically on top of the AFC East. But you guys are doing it a little bit differently, a different way with the offense, running the football.
Well, yeah, we're a little more conservative than we have been, trying to be very efficient. We have a different approach offensively, running the football a little more, trying to be efficient throwing it, and it's been working out for us. We're playing great defense, and anytime you play great defense, you're going to have a chance to win games.
Hey, good luck on Monday night.
Thanks, Jerry. Take care.
The Fish go to Foxborough Monday night, Michael.
On 2nd and 6, Doc Covington finds Reggie Wayne, who made a nice move to duck out of bounds and pick up the 1st down. Well, as Doc mentioned, the Dolphins are part of the primetime lineup this weekend on ESPN and ABC. We start with the great Jerry Rice and San Francisco trying to bounce back from the game against Atlanta. They take on 5-5 New Orleans. Then Monday Night Football, Miami taking on the New England Patriots. If the Pats get off to a bad start after the announcement today that they're moving to Hartford in 2001, do you think Dan is going to be playing in front of a hostile house against the home team? ABC Monday Night Football at 8 Eastern this week. After the nice pickup by Covington of 21 yards through the air, James on the ground gets to the 43. Kenny Pegram made that tackle.
You know, I think Larry Coyer, the defensive coordinator at Pittsburgh, he's going to have to kind of pick his spots where he wants to try to blitz and come after Scott Covington. He tried on that last pass play, the big completion to Reggie Wayne, but it was picked up very well. Both backs stayed in. Edgerrin James actually did a nice job picking up the blitz, and they had the single coverage. If they're going to blitz, they have to catch Miami in a time when they can't pick it up and they can get to Covington.
This is Phil Clark, their middle linebacker. You know, his head would be in there. Dinkins sticks Edgerrin James, whose run to the 40 is about a yard short of the first down. Before we forget, to not leave you in the breach anymore, passing yards in a career, Pittsburgh, who passed Dan Marino?
I know who it was.
Good.
Alex Van Pelt.
That's right. Dan was 79 to 82. Van Pelt was 89 to 92. And you didn't even look. You knew that.
I did a lot of Big East games, brother, when I started in this business. I watched Alex Van Pelt throw a lot of passes at Pittsburgh.
A good passer, too, on the Bills roster for quite some time in the NFL. On 3rd and 1, here is James. Some of the examples of why Edgerrin James is a good runner right there on that small 3-yard pickup that gets the first down.
And you're just not used to seeing a 220-pound back plant his foot and make such a quick cut. I mean, Trey Creighton was in position to make a play behind the line of scrimmage, and Edgerrin James just very effortlessly, watch him plant his left foot and just cut right back to the inside and breaks a tackle. He's 220 pounds, but he has very, very quick feet, and when he plants his foot, he makes a quick cut back to the inside.
Go for a pass up top on 1st and 10 from Miami. Covington looks. Dinkins was quick to the ball and broke up the pass intended for Bubba Franks, the tight end. I like DJ Dinkins. Guys played on both sides of the ball in his Pittsburgh career. Quarterback, wide receiver, a DB last year. You know, he was in the running for the starting quarterback job that was won by Pete Gonzalez in '96.
And he's still learning how to play free safety, but he is a good-looking athlete. 6'4", 225 pounds. He's man coverage here on Bubba Franks, and that was really a poor throw by Covington, well behind his intended receiver, the tight end Franks.
2nd and 10, the stretch play with James. Just shy of the 30. It will be 3rd and about 3. DeMond Gibson made the tackle. James, 7th carry of the night. Of course, if you're not with us at the top of the show, James caught a 68-yard pass for the Miami squad. Inside of 3 minutes, first quarter, Mike Tirico, Todd Blackledge, Dr. Jerry Punch. Thursday night football from the legendary Orange Bowl in Miami. They're going to play the Orange Bowl in here this year. Covington finds Reggie Wayne, who makes a nice move. To the 3, it's 1st and goal, Miami. 27 yards. A lot of it done by Wayne. Dinkins and Creighton had a chance to tackle him and did not.
Great call by Larry Coker. Maybe it was a check at the line by Covington, but Pittsburgh shifted into an 8-man front late, and they went to the quick throw, and it's one-on-one coverage out here. And watch the good move Wayne makes after the catch. He knows there's no other help to the outside. He plants and spins back to the outside. Great reaction by Reggie Wayne after he made the catch.
Will McPartland is the fullback. Lean leads the way for James on 1st and goal. Sure will. James is stopped. Marlon Young, who is from Miami, Florida, on the Pittsburgh defense, made the stop.
You know, right now, it's worth mentioning, too, Miami is missing a key guy in their offensive package tonight. Nick Williams, their starting fullback, is a senior. He's 6'2", 265 pounds, and watching him on film, he was really a good lead blocker. He's out with a broken finger, and Will McPartland in now, his first start as a fullback. So they're a little different right now running that lead play.
Play 10 of the drive is James up the middle, spinning. No signal yet. Nope, just shy of the goal line. Pittsburgh's injury replacement, Ryan Gonzalez, at the middle linebacker spot, in for Phil Clark. Stopped him just shy.
This time, Edgerrin James decided to take it right up to the inside, and he's stretching and stretching. Good call. The ball did not get across the plane.
Body in, ball not. Keeper by Covington.
I don't think he got in either.
No way. 4th down. Well, they tried to go quick with Covington. Didn't look like he had either a handle on the ball or the surge to get in. Decision time for Butch Davis.
Well, I think Butch will go for it. His offense has been pretty unstoppable here the last month, plus your defense is playing well. Here's the line now. Just watch. Does the football get over that line? No, it does not. Great leverage by the Pitt front people getting underneath the pads of the Miami offensive line.
4th and goal. Tight end Fulcher in motion. James. Touchdown, Miami. Second touchdown of the night, first on the ground, and his 12th rushing touchdown of the season. Andy Crossland on for the extra point. And the Canes go quick strike early. Long drive here to take a 7-point lead.
Good push by the left side, the left guard Richard Mercier, the left tackle Robert Hall. They drive down. Good block by the tight end Bubba Franks. And then that powerful running style. Edgerrin James gets his shoulders leaning forward. He's always falling forward. You know, you talk about some of the great backs that do that. They're always falling forward for yardage. You're never getting knocked back. Edgerrin James that time, good leverage getting to the end zone.
There is the Miami scoring drive, much longer than that quick strike 2-play 52-second job that they hung on the Panthers defense in the opening effort of the game. So Miami has a 14-7 lead. The Canes a 6-2 record on the year, looking for a victory here this evening if Syracuse wins against Temple at the Vet in Philadelphia on Saturday. And that would set up a Miami-Syracuse Big East Championship game, if you will, in the Carrier Dome 9 days from now. Miami has some business left here, and Syracuse has to handle Temple's option offense. Line drive kick is off the hands of English and picked up by Poteet from the 10. You see some of the shiftiness that makes Poteet a good return man. Gets out to the 26, and the drive will start from there. ABC Sports College Football doubleheader, Michigan, Ohio State. You know the Rose Bowl implications. They were explained earlier on Thursday game night. Then, regional action with number 1, 3, 4, and 5 in great matchups. K-State at Columbia, USC, UCLA, and Florida, Florida State. I think they're talking about that game a little bit down here this week. All that coming up, doubleheader, plus Todd and John Saunders in the ABC studio this Saturday. Kevin Barlow takes the first down carry for 4 yards, and that'll end the first 15 minutes of play. Nate Webster in on the stop. Edgerrin James, third all-time now on the Miami list. 30 career touchdowns, 2 in that first quarter. The first one in the air, 68-yarder, and he carried the load on the touchdown drive just a moment ago after one. Miami 14, Pittsburgh 7 on Thursday Night Football. You're looking at Phil Clark, who is the inside linebacker for Pittsburgh, their third leading tackler from Miami. Can't play here tonight because of his injury. Pitt missed him on that last drive. Nate Webster, the inside backer for Miami, who missed most of the first quarter with turf toe, played on the last play and is in there for Pittsburgh. Second down pass by Lytle, dropped by R.J. English. Now Blades on the coverage. And there is Webster on the field now for the Canes.
Well, they were surprised. You know, Nate Webster didn't get to practice much this week and was questioned whether he'd be able to play. He is definitely one of the real spirited leaders of this defensive football team. Kind of takes it upon himself to fire his teammates up.
He's from Miami Northwestern High School. He remembers the attitude of the old Canes when Miami was dominant in college football. 3rd and 7. Lytle thinking about tucking it. Got a block and got a first down to the 38-yard line. It was Rod Mack, the junior, on the stop.
I think that was a designed run. I think it was a quarterback draw. I don't think it was a scramble. Matt Lytle, one of the things he really brings to the table is his ability to run the football. They're showing pass, but they're leading the fullback up through there. They're blocking it as a draw. The receivers are blocking downfield. A designed quarterback draw and a nice call by Walt Harris. And Matt Lytle shows what he can do running the football.
Brischow, the center, had a hold of Webster. The linebacker for Miami. From the 39, Lytle to the air, to the ground. He's hit in a very precarious position as well. Derek Ham made the sack, and I didn't see why Derek ended up falling back down over Lytle. Lytle is okay.
Here's Ham right here, and he's just going to beat the left tackle, Mark Brown. He gets to the outside. Brown's not able to move his feet, and you're right. Very dangerous position for Matt Lytle to get hit. Did a nice job holding on to the football, not giving up the turnover there. But a good outside rush by Derek Ham, now his 12th sack of the season. Very interesting story. A kid's really turned his life around, turned his career around, and this is his final season.
One of the few seniors on this Miami team makes the play that sets up 2nd and 20. Lytle does throw with some zip to Terry Murphy at the 40. Penalty marker down, though, a couple of yards off the line of scrimmage.
My guess is that Pitt was not lined up correctly. They're using a lot of 3, 4, 5 receivers. You got to have a certain number of men on the line of scrimmage. I don't think Pitt had enough men on the line of scrimmage that time.
The first Panther penalty. They went flag-free in the first. Here are the stats through the first 15 minutes. Miami's 117 passing yards, a bit surprising, considering Miami, for the game, throws 250 yards per. So they are over-exceeding in that category early on. You were correct on the call. So Walt Harris's team slides back another 5.
And against a team like Miami that is more talented than you, you can't afford to hurt yourself with costly penalties. Last week, they had a season-high 12 penalties in their loss to Boston College. They can't hurt themselves in this ball game. Miami's good enough without the help.
2nd and 24. Lytle will run for some of it. Live at the 36-yard line. He got 11 of the yards back. Tonight's overhead shots, courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach, Florida. It's 40 miles north of here on I-95. Jim Maloney from Vienna, Virginia, is at the controls.
Yeah, there's a hangar for one of those about a couple miles off my back door up there in Akron, Ohio.
Is that right? Is it the Spirit of Akron?
Spirit of Akron.
God, do you go to that hangar very often? Just take the kids, a little blimp hangar tour. It's very nice.
Sure.
It's a nice
Fox Derby.
Good old Midwestern salt-of-the-earth guy. 3rd and 13 for Lytle. In trouble. The pass was complete for the first down, but I don't know if the receiver was still far enough. It was Julius Dixon, and yes, he did get the first down.
He almost lost it because he came back trying to make a bigger play, but this is a tremendous job by Matt Lytle avoiding the rush. A great inside rush by Damian Lewis, and he's able to avoid him and Derek Ham, keep his composure and his eyes downfield, and make the throw. Now watch Dixon. He tried to turn it into a big play and realized, let me just get back and make sure I get the first down. Great play by Matt Lytle avoiding the pressure.
From midfield, they go back to the run with Kevin Barlow, and he only gets a couple of yards to the 48. That's Nate Webster leading the tackling group.
The only chance that Pittsburgh had tonight really was for Matt Lytle to have an outstanding night. And so far, he is doing a pretty good job. He's made the one bad throw on the interception, but pretty good numbers. He's running it when he has to, and he's making positive yardage when he runs the football. Walt Harris is putting Lytle in some positions right now to be successful, and Lytle is executing the offense.
Pete Gonzalez, one of the top throwing quarterbacks in the conference last year. Lytle sat behind him. Empty backfield. It is Dixon who got leveled, and the ball is incomplete. That's why we told you 52 on the field. Webster is the big factor.
This is simply a case of a receiver knowing that there's a guy like Nate Webster in the middle of the field. Watch as Dixon comes in. The eyes come off the football for a half a second to find 52. And if you're going to get hit like that, you might as well hang on to the football because you're still going to get hit.
They picked up 5 of 7 third downs tonight. Lytle in trouble. Brian Stinson came up with a sack. He lost 16 yards. Derek Ham, the sack man, got the pressure, and Stinson got the stack and the sack.
Here comes Derek Ham on the outside again, working against Mark Brown, and this time Matt Lytle rolls right into Derek Ham. You know, sometimes you can help your offensive tackle by moving up. Sometimes you hurt him by rolling out.
DeBolt just gets his punch away to Santana Moss from the 18. Moss slips and falls and is down at the 23. So just a 5-yard return. The kick was 46. Canes lead by 7 and take over when you come back.
ESPN's presentation of Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, who reminds you the 3 most important words are, hey, beer man.
Ocean Drive, South Beach, Miami. A happening place, that's for sure. Canes 14, Panthers 7. We're in Little Havana, the Orange Bowl here in Miami. Darryl Jones, the receiver in motion. James Jackson's first carry of the night. His back's got some wiggle too, but Seth Hornack stayed home and made a nice play.
Made an outstanding play because James Jackson really has some explosive ability, and when he decided to cut that back, the only thing that prevented him from getting all the way outside was Seth Hornack. Did a nice job of maintaining his position and not giving up outside leverage. He's a leading tackler on the football team. He's a guy who kind of plays above his ability, plays with great intensity. And you see has very good fundamentals that time. It was a good fundamental play by the strong safety.
On second down, Jackson again. It looks like he's trying to hit a home run every time he touches the ball, doesn't he? D.J. Dinkins, the second leading tackler, made the stop. Hornack and Dinkins are 1-2 as tacklers on this team. They're the starting strong and free safety, and that usually is not a good sign.
Well, it's usually not a good sign, but part of it is the design of Larry Coyer's defense. He likes to get his safeties up involved, and a lot of 8-man type looking defenses. They don't start out at 8-man fronts, but they get their safeties involved in the run game quite a bit.
Miami goes 3 receivers for 3rd and 3, and Mandrell Fulcher, the tight end, close to you. He stays in the block, and Swain picks up the first down at the 39-yard line. Hank Poteet made the stop, but Reggie moves the chains.
Scott Covington just plays with a lot of poise. You know, I mean, you can say, well, he's a 5th-year senior, but he's a first-year starter. And he really looks like he is comfortable out there running the offense here. A nice quick throw to Reggie Wayne. And he has a lot of weapons, a lot of people to get the football to that can make big plays. Doing a nice job distributing the football here this season.
Ryan Clement was the starter all of last year. Covington fires deep and gets Andre King out of bounds at the 34. 26 yards. Here's Jerry.
We talk about Scott Covington's dissatisfaction in the early years here as a Miami Hurricane when the coaches told him he wasn't ready to play. He thought he was ready to play. They said, no, you're not ready to play. And now that he looks back in retrospect, he realizes had he played in the early years when he wasn't ready, many would have thought he was part of the problem, part of the reason the Hurricanes went down. And now playing here, bringing him back, he becomes part of the solution. So now he knew he needed to wait.
He was here 5 years ago when they played Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. He's been here for the top, hitting the bottom, and the resurgence. Jackson Covington is plugged up by the line. Ryan Gonzalez leading the Pittsburgh defense. And when we met with Scott Covington, a California kid, yesterday, he impressed me by his maturity. His answers were thoughtful, were deep. You really got a sense that this guy, through the negatives he's gone through, has become a very positive person.
And a very mature person, because, you know, there were a lot of guys on this football team that thought last year Scott Covington was the best quarterback and maybe should have been playing more. And he handled all that, you know, and handled his relationship with Ryan Clement and waited his turn. And certainly he would have liked to have played a couple years in this system and for Miami, the great tradition of quarterbacks, but he's basically got a 12-game career to look at right now, and trying to make the best of it.
Play clock never started here.
Please reset the game clock to show 8:27. 8:22. 8:22.
Well, there you see the U of M National Championships, the 4 in that great run of 8 years, ending in '91, and Butch Davis was here on Jimmy Johnson's staff for a couple of those. And that's what attracted so many of these kids to this program when Covington was recruited, and they were at that championship level still when they played here in the Orange Bowl against Nebraska 5 years ago. But you go back to this game last year against Pittsburgh, and imagine that. You're playing for the national championship.
Right.
Even though you're not on the field, a red-shirting true freshman. And 4 years later, you guys are losing at Pitt on national TV. Deep covered, intercepted. Seth Hornak, his 4th. Covington lost his headgear and lost possession of the ball.
I'm a little surprised by this call, Mike, for the simple reason that Pitt is giving a lot of cushion on the out routes, and they tried to go with a hook and go, and there was already a big cushion outside.
Hornak and Poteet, the DBs, get it done on that drive. Panther ball. Well, Scott Covington has thrown just 5 interceptions this year until that last one. The numbers are looking nice and puffy, but Hornak and the Pittsburgh Panther defense forced the turnover, and Matt Lytle under the controls from his own 14. 6 rushing yards for Kevin Barlow. He's second and 4, back to the interception.
Well, Hornak's going to get the credit for the interception, but it's caused by Hank Poteet. They're trying to go hook and go on Poteet, and Covington is sure that Poteet is going to bite on this fake, but he stays right in position. Then he has to try to dump it off to his fullback and makes a poor throw, but they were convinced Hank Poteet would bite on the pump fake, did a nice job staying in his coverage and forcing Covington to go somewhere else with the football.
Second and 4. Rare carry for the fullback, Chris Viola, just his 10th of the year. Will be 3rd and 2. Viola out of North Hills High School, one of the factories for great Western Pennsylvania football. Former walk-on, special teamer last year. Linebacker for Pitt last fall. On the offensive side now.
Var Arrington, great linebacker at Penn State, is from North Hills High School.
He is terrific. Third and a long yard. To the air for it. Incomplete. Again, Murphy slipped. Brooks on the coverage. Wasn't thrown in a place where he could make the catch. 3 and out, and be careful for Brooks now, because this is what he does so well, block kicks. He has 2 this year. Greg DeBolt on punt. He has had 1 block this year. Miami puts on the return. DeBolt does not get a good kickoff. Out of bounds at the 46. Only 30 yards. Miami ball in good field position when we come back on Thursday Night Football. Back at the legendary Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. Mike Tirico, Todd Blackledge, Dr. Jerry Punch. Miami leads by 7 and has the ball in the best starting position of the night for the Canes. At the 45, Edgerrin James gets 2 to the 47.
You know, one thing that Miami had open early in the game a couple times is a little bit of a bootleg or a throwback type of action. They got the big touchdown to Edgerrin James. Wouldn't be surprised to see him come back to a play like that, maybe slip the fullback out, Will McPartland, or even try to get Edgerrin James out on the backside again. But watch for some kind of a bootleg or a throwback action after they've been running the football here.
He's held Miami's rushing game in check. Covington to the air. Incomplete. And not many receiving options down the middle of the field. Ryan Gonzalez got a hand on it. Great to watch some college hoops as we were getting ready for the game, including that late one out at Stanford last night. They beat SMU. They take on Southwest Missouri State in the Chase NIT quarterfinals. CU goes to New York, 9:30 Eastern tomorrow night on ESPN. But before that, right after SportsCenter, number 4 Michigan State, number 7 Temple. Should be a good one. Tom Izzo's Michigan State team, led by Mateen Cleaves, and John Chaney's Temple team, always playing that tough non-conference schedule. The baskets have begun on ESPN.
I'll tell you, as a quarterback, that's the kind of throw where, I mean, your heart just jumps up in your throat and almost jumps out of your body, because you know as soon as it leaves your hand, you should have never thrown it. I mean, you threw it right into the chest of the middle linebacker, Gonzalez, and then you're lucky that it falls incomplete. You got away with one there.
Covington, praised for his good decision-making, has not had a last good couple of passes. That's to the tight end, Bubba Franks, but Daniel is given first name. Short of the first down. And Miami will kick it away.
Go back to the second down play, the near interception by the freshman Ryan Gonzalez. Here he is right here. Now there's a good pass rush by Marlon Young that gets in there and gets a little bit of pressure on Covington. But this throw should have never been made because Gonzalez is right there in the throwing lane in front of the tight end.
Andy Crossland, the kick. Tim Stein is back deep. Going to let it hit. Went out of bounds first, and Crossland trying to pin Pittsburgh deep. Drive will start from the 16. Nate Webster and the Miami defense back on the field.
Well, Nate Webster did not start, but he is definitely the inspirational leader of this defense. Take a look at him now. Doesn't look like that turf toe's bothering him, running around, making plays inside, and then the big hit on Julius Dixon. I'd say Nate Webster's fully back into the football game now.
Didn't take him long, even though he didn't play until the final snap of the first quarter.
A good young tandem of linebackers between he and Dan Morgan. Both sophomores, both getting better and better each week.
First down, Barlow. Shown some good running ability, especially on first down tonight. Picked up about 7.
I like the way this kid's running the football, Mike, because he's not wasting any time. He's not dancing around. He's getting north and south, and he's turning it up, and he's very decisive in his running. They've gotten some good straight-ahead runs with Kevin Barlow. Sophomore out of Pittsburgh.
8 carries, 31 yards for him right now, Todd. He led this team in rushing in the Liberty Bowl. Lost to Southern Miss last year. Again, to keep him honest with the fullback, for Fiola. That's all that is.
It's keep the defense honest and keep your fullback happy and in the game. So that's it now, buddy. Keep blocking and pass protecting and do all those other nasty things. We'll throw you a bone every now and then.
Hey, you carried it 9 times all year. That's 2 in the same quarter on national TV. Right. Way to go, bud.
Now get in there and block Nate Webster.
On 3rd and 1. The long yard, too. They threw in this situation last time. They picked with Barlow. His spin forward may have gotten the first down. See where the linesman will spot it. Clear the bodies. And I think they've got it by just the nose of the ball. They will check it out.
Well, they need a first down here, too. Their defense has given them a couple really good stops, but they need to let their defense rest on the sidelines a little bit, get their legs back, hold on to the football a little bit. Good first down run by Kevin Barlow.
Well, we gave Fiola his couple of bones with his carries. He helped get the first down because the defense is resting now.
Well, this is a big guy. It's a defensive end, Quincy Hips, and Fiola gets enough of a piece of him to allow his back, Barlow, to cut back up to the inside.
Remember the point we made earlier. It's not 80 80 degrees in Pittsburgh this time of year. So these guys are feeling the effects of the humidity and the heat as well. Idle to the air. In the seam, nearly caught by Terry Murphy, who was waiting for the hit and didn't hang on. Ball was delivered exactly when it had to be, wasn't it?
It's a cover 2, which means that the corner is going to turn the guy loose. There's a deep safety. There's a hole right in between there, and Lytle puts the ball perfectly, but you mentioned it. Murphy knew the safety was coming over the top, and he took a peek, and he lost concentration on the football. Nice throw by Matt Lytle in the hole.
Quarterback, can you blame your receiver for doing that?
Sure you can. There's a hole in the defense. You got to catch it there.
You guys. 2nd and 10. Barlow, they try to spread him out and sneak him inside. And he gained 4 yards to the 30. Michael Smith, Quincy Hips made the stop. Pittsburgh's run the ball for 39 yards here tonight. Miami just 25. Barlow's done most all the damage. And don't forget, both of these teams played on Saturday. The fatigue could play a role later on. They're down, incomplete. Somewhere under there, Julius Dixon is begging for a flag, but it's not coming. Al Blaze, yes, he is related, younger brother of Brian and Benny, former U of M greats in the late 80s. So break to Bolt. Back on to kick. Santana Moss awaits. This is a better kick by the Moss. Much better. Santana from the 18. Has some room to run. And gets hit at the 30. 53-yard punt. 13-yard return. Nothing soft about Chiffon. Chiffon Allen made the tackle. We'll be right back. Walt Harris's team is hanging around. Pittsburgh trails by 7. Kane drive starting from the 30. As you called for before, to Edgerrin James. He gets the first down despite taking the hard hit. He hung on to the 41. Trey Creighton takes him along for the ride. And why did you see that open it up for them?
Well, it's just because Pitt is doing a nice job on defense getting to the football. They're flying to the football, flowing to the football. Larry Coyer, defensive coordinator, doing a nice job mixing things up. And this is an undersized, undermanned defense right now that's hanging in there. And so when you, to take advantage of that aggressiveness, get them flowing one way, roll your quarterback out, and throw it back. Hope they forget about somebody.
5 in the pattern. Big ball for Covington. Well covered and nearly intercepted by Hank Poteet, who has 6 this year. Well, we're in South Florida, and we miss Chris Fowler down here. He joins us in the studio now. Chris?
I'd love to be down there. You know, mayor of South Beach, Mike. Coming up on our Coors Light halftime report, the halftime blitz. Lee and Kirk will check in with their top 5s and the always popular hidden video, all coming up at the break. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Your Honor, the mayor of South Beach. You know, I was ready to bury him with the mayor of South Beach, and he beat us to it. Well, Chris, this Pittsburgh defense has been impressive in the first half, led without Phil Clark by Ryan Gonzalez, young player in the middle. On second down, it's James again. Effective as a pass catcher tonight and very close to first down yardage. Damon Gibson with the stop. We are seeing that Edgerrin James is more than a powerful, explosive runner. May have the best hands on this Miami team.
Well, Larry Coker thought that he did have the best hands, that he just has phenomenal hands, works hard on catching the football, and that just gives him an added dimension of what you can do with him offensively. We've seen Miami sneak him out on the screens. This time it's just a little check down pattern. You run everybody deep and you dump it off to Edgerrin James. Just going to check down right in there. And then you get him in the open field and hope he can make 1 or 2 guys miss. Catches the ball very effortlessly.
Miami, as you saw, took a timeout. They're first with 2:22 left before halftime. Well, while they catch their breath. We're going to check in with Jerry Punch.
Guys, this timeout may have been a break for the Panther defense. Pittsburgh, the players were really sucking wind after having to, at that throwback a moment ago to Edgerrin James and having to run him down from behind. The pass protection, the pursuit of Covington, they were basically bending over when Miami called timeout. They were getting ready to bring in some substitutes. Remember, Pittsburgh isn't very deep. They're very, very young, and they have a lot of players that are banged up and aren't playing tonight. So with their starting some freshmen, you don't have anywhere to go. So that timeout may have been a huge help for Pittsburgh here, trying to hang on here at the end of the first half.
And, Jerry, it's a very important drive for the Pitt defense. They played extremely well, and they can go in 14-7. That's a pretty job well done in the first half. Try to hold it right here.
Covington in trouble and sacked by DeMond Gibson, rather. Marlon Young got in there first. And Miami takes a quick timeout. Second sack for the Panthers.
Marlon Young has done that a couple times tonight, getting a good pass rush from his outside position and a huge timely sack for the Pittsburgh defense.
We will be right back at the Orange Bowl.
Whenever I was down, they would always pick me up or tell me, you know, it's okay, you can do better next time. And they never put me down or told me that what I did was not good enough or anything. But they really helped me out through my tough situations that I needed to have a friend or a shoulder to cry on. Mom and Dad, Michelle and Brian, my family, I just want to say thank you for just being there for me. I love you, and keep praying for me.
Where you choose to go to college is an important decision, and the University of Miami has some distinct advantages. Private, selective, comprehensive, challenging, medium size, research, location, scholarship, diversity, value. Take advantage of all we have to offer. The University of Miami.
Providing our shots from above, the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. This year marks the 100-year anniversary for Goodyear and the 72nd year for its blimp fleet. Glad to have the Goodyear Blimp with us on Thursday Night Football from the Orange Bowl. After the sack and a loss of 10. 2nd and 20, Miami down to one timeout. Covington pass is caught with a lot of room for Santana Moss. And a face mask will add to it and make a Miami first down. 19 yards on that play before the flag.
See, the problem here for the Pittsburgh defense is there's such a cushion right here between him and Santana Moss. Watch as this pass is completed to Moss. Hornak is late getting to him, and it allows Moss to stop and reverse his field and turn a short completion into a big play. It's an easy throw with that kind of a cushion, and then Moss does the rest.
No flag for the face mask. James gets just a yard. The helmet came off because you saw the tackle was around the neck. You heard the Miami bench yelling for the face mask, but it was not called. And they run the ball there to pick up the first down with Edgerrin James. And it appears that they have. Inside of 2 minutes now here in this first half. The clock stopped for a measurement.
A very interesting time in the game, you know, when you have teams that are going in different directions. Right now, Miami thinking if we can stick another touchdown in on these guys, then it might knock the wind out of their sails completely, go in 21-7. Pittsburgh thinking right now, if we can hold it, if we can hold them to, at the very most, a field goal and go in 17-7. We played pretty well in the first half. We got a chance in the second half. So a very critical stage of the game right now with just under 2 minutes left.
Well, Larry Coyer's defense is doing the job stopping James and Miami on the ground. They had a couple of sacks to factor in there, but Miami's under 20 yards rushing here, 202 in the air. This Pittsburgh defense second in the Big East against the pass and overall in yards given up. First down, Covington. Takes a hit as he throws, and it's caught by Andre King. That's the 31. Good job by Covington to hang in there.
Well, he bought some time. It was a free safety blitz. DJ Dinkins came on the blitz, but Covington was able to buy an awful lot of time against that pressure.
2nd and 3. 5 in the pattern. The tight end Fulcher with the catch for a first down across the 25. Miami can stop it. 1 timeout left in 1:12.
Tight end Mondrell Fulcher. They're trying to get him the ball more and more the next couple of weeks. He's a guy who can really run. He's becoming a new weapon, a new target as the 2nd tight end.
Covington's in his last 5 passes. Make it 6 as Andre King squirts out of bounds inside the 20. Miami in rhythm, and Pittsburgh now substitutes 7 players defensively.
They're just trying to get some fresh bodies in right now. This is a very tired defense, as Jerry Punch told us. Larry Coyer just trying to bring some fresh, quick legs, some quick bodies in to try to get some pressure on Scott Covington. Kind of a risky move by Larry Coyer, bringing that many new guys in at a time like this, in a place like this, in your red zone.
Covington looking end zone, caught by the tight end Franks. Breaks the tackle, stays on his feet and gets down to the 3. First and goal, 53 seconds left.
Miami has 2 outstanding tight ends. Here's Daniel Franks now. It's just a little out route by the tight end. Good timing by Covington. And when you have tight ends that can threaten the middle of the field, it opens up everything in your pass game. And right now, Franks and Fulcher are becoming more and more of a weapon for Scott Covington.
Trey Creighton missed the tackle, thus first and goal from the 3. Edgerrin James, who smells the end zone, does not get in. Clock still running. Touchdown. Clock still running. Oh, now they say touchdown. Hey, if you're going to call it, don't wait that long. 3rd of the night for James, and it's 20-7.
Well, it took a while, but I think it was a good call. I think Edgerrin James did a nice job of stretching the ball over the plane before he was down. Watch again.
I never understand what the delay is.
Yeah.
I mean, are you replaying it in your mind? What is the delay at that point? Either you saw him cross it or you didn't. James has scored 3 tonight, 1 via the air, to the ground. Andy Crossland has followed all 3 with extra points. And Miami scores on a nice long drive at the end of the half to take a 14-point lead.
Nice job by Scott Covington running the hurry-up offense, spreading the football around, working the middle of the field to his tight ends. Butch Davis sounds like you. Make the call. It was a touchdown. Don't take so long.
That's a great drive out of Covington after he had thrown a couple of bad passes.
Threw an interception, got away with one that was dropped by Ryan Gonzalez, but came back strong in that drive. Really did a nice job of spreading the football around.
The other part of that was there were 4 or 5 seconds that ran off the clock while they were waiting for the official to decide if he saw a touchdown or not. 5 less seconds for Pittsburgh to try to move the ball down the field into, at worst, field goal range. The Coors Light halftime report is coming up. Chris, Lee, and Kirk, they get ready to spend rivalry weekend in the studio. They settle in for Thursday night with the stories that get you ready for the weekend, including the blitz and hidden video. This is a great weekend, isn't it, with all these terrific games?
Weekend.
Michigan, Ohio State, UCLA, USC. Kansas State going to Columbia. That won't be easy against Missouri. Among others. They have not kicked to Hank Poteet tonight. And because of that, Pittsburgh is shortened up their receiving formation. Poteet can't get the one-hopper, and it's a touchback in the end zone.
We mentioned Scott Covington, the last drive, very efficient, and a big part of his success, working the football to his tight ends in the middle of the field. Here's Fulcher on the crossing route. 2 very talented tight ends. Here's Daniel Franks, 6'6", 245, the little out route. Breaks a couple tackles. Real nice job working the middle of the field, matching up very fast tight ends against linebackers who aren't normally your best cover people.
27 seconds left. Pittsburgh will just take a knee and take it on into the locker room. Well, the Panthers hung close throughout the half, tied it at 7, but a couple of more Edgerrin James touchdowns here in the second half. Closes it out. Scott Covington, very good end to the half, and look at the numbers, 237 yards in the touchdown toss to James, who scored 3 times at the half. Miami 21, Pittsburgh 7. Now the Coors Light halftime report. Back to the studio, Chris Fowler, Lee Corso. Led by 50-year senior quarterback Scott Covington. Miami working the ball to its variety of weapons. Some of the reasons that the Canes are back at a force to be reckoned with in college football, they can spread the ball around. They lead Pittsburgh 21-7 as we get set to start the third quarter here back at the Orange Bowl. Mike Tirico and Todd Blackledge. Todd, we talk about a 50-year senior quarterback, his ability to move the ball. Why is Scott Covington so effective at doing that?
Well, they're doing a good job of mixing up how they get the football. He's moving, setting up in different spots, or they're running the ball effectively, which helps any quarterback. And he's doing a nice job of spreading it around. You can't focus on any 1 or 2 receivers because everybody's involved in the passing game tonight for Miami.
Yeah, 7 catches by the Miami tight ends as we start the second half. Canes to get the ball first. And the drive will start from the 20-yard line. The return by Najee Davenport, just shy of the 20. Here's some of what Covington did in the first 30 minutes.
If you take a look now, he's working on the throwback here to Edgerrin James, set up that was the touchdown. Now the wide receiver, Andre King, and then the tight ends, as you mentioned, Mike, 7 catches for the combination of the 2 tight ends. Franks and Fulcher coming in, they had only had 21 catches, so 1/3 of that number combined they've had in the first half of the ball game tonight.
Covington's numbers very good. Just the 1 interception, had 4 shaky snaps in that first half. Otherwise, it's very good. There's James on the ground for a couple. The one thing Pittsburgh did well was shut down Miami running the ball in the first half. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Halftime talked to Butch Davis, very concerned, said he wasn't very happy with his team other than the initial series of the ball game and the final couple series. Very displeased with the third down conversions, both offensively and defensively. Defensively, their inability to stop the scrambling of Matt Lytle. Offensively, their inability to slow down the rush, the pass rush against Covington on third down. And also, they're having trouble handling the 8-man front. They can't get their running game going. Look for them to throw it more in the second half.
2nd and 7 here, Jerry. James again. 3 more. 3rd and a long 3.
You know, Jerry mentioned the third down conversions, and Butch very unhappy with the first half performance of his team. But, you know, that's been a problem for Miami all season. I mean, opponents have been converting 45% on third down. That's a pretty high number of conversions against a good defense. And back in the day when Miami was really playing great defense, I mean, teams would struggle to convert 20% on third down. Now teams are converting close to 50%, so that certainly is an area that Miami can improve on in their defensive football team.
In the air on 3rd and 3, another tight end pass. Fulcher stretching the field across midfield and 2. The 45. They pick up 29 on a tight end's night here in the Orange Bowl.
Well, you can see that Miami has recognized that they can really hurt this Pittsburgh defense and these young linebackers by throwing to the tight end. They release both tight ends. This is Fulcher coming out of the backfield almost like an H-back, a little delay route. They release the other tight end down the field to take the coverage away, and then they dump it to the other tight end, Fulcher. Very well-designed play. 2
things Miami is doing without their fullback, who starts, Nick Williams, getting Fulcher on the field more, and that's one way to do it. Now James to the 32. First down for Edgerrin, who picked up 12. Has some work to do in the second half to get those rushing numbers up.
Okay, here's Fulcher right here lined up as a fullback. They release the 1 tight end down, and then they just follow with the 2nd tight end. You can do this with a fullback. You can do it with an H-back. You can do it with a 2nd tight end. A well-designed play, a delay route to the number 2 tight end, Fulcher, and you can see what he can do running the football. He was an option quarterback in high school, has real good speed, and they are really trying to find ways to get him more involved in the offense.
James is stopped by the middle of that Pittsburgh defensive front. Julian Graham in there to make the stop along with Brian Gonzalez.
One thing that we haven't seen him do yet, which we may see soon, because again, they've had some success running the football, is to see Covington come out on a bootleg and try to get the ball to either Franks or Fulcher crossing the field on the bootleg action.
Franks is on the left side of the formation. Reggie Wayne and Santana Moss are the receivers. The fullback McPartland motion. And there's Wayne at the 26, 3 yards shy of a first down. After Trey Creighton stopped, we take a look at the numbers. At the midway point tonight, you see those Miami rushing yards way down. This is a team that rushes for nearly 200 yards a game. With the passing yards, a distinct U of M advantage.
Jerry Punch mentioned the 8-man fronts that Pittsburgh is using, trying to get in there and stop the run, and credit Scott Covington and Larry Coker for taking advantage of what they can do, and that has been throw the football.
3rd and 3. Toward the end zone for Santana Moss. Incomplete. From here, it would be a 44-yard field goal, and that's what they'll try with Crossland.
Nice idea by Scott Covington, just getting the ball up in the air and letting Moss try to run to the corner for it. There was a blitz on the outside. Ryan Knight came untouched and forced Covington to get rid of that ball a little bit early. And he gave his guy a shot. That's all you can do.
Officially a 43-yarder caught in the fake. Run by Popovich up the middle. Touchdown! Last year, it was Popovich on a fake that scored against Pittsburgh through the air. This time on the ground. He holds now for Crossland's kick, which is worth 1 instead of 3. Well, the junior out of Tucson, Arizona, Jeff Popovich, threw the touchdown pass against Pittsburgh on the fake field goal last year. High school quarterback and a track star and a touchdown maker on Thursday Night Football.
ESPN's presentation of Thursday Night Football is brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change.
Well, the Orange Bowl's seen some neat plays in its history. Remember the hook and ladder in here during the Dolphins-Chargers playoff game in '81? Fake field goal for a touchdown by Jeff Popovich, the 5'11" junior defensive back out of Tucson, Arizona. Second career touchdown. You think Pittsburgh's going to be watching 33 when he plays against them next year? 28-7, Popovich on board for kick coverage now. Short kick. Taken to the 29 by Brandon Williams. They've been effective in changing up their kickoff options. Well, last year, Pittsburgh beat Miami 21-17. The Canes struggled to score, but one score in the 3rd quarter. It was Popovich on the fake field goal, rolling out and throwing the 15-yard touchdown pass to Bubba Franks. That tied the game at 14. Miami went on to lose that game 21-17. But tonight, it's Popovich on the ground, extending to a 3-touchdown advantage for the Canes. And we'll tell you why that play worked from an XO standpoint in a minute. Lytle and the Panthers start from the 29. Kevin Barlow is tripped up by Damian Lewis. Sophomore out of Texas has had an active night. Todd, back to Pop.
Well, it was a perfectly designed play. Chuck Pagano's the special teams coordinator, and they wanted to attack a certain area. They wanted to attack right here. The only guy that can stop this is that linebacker right here, but he's committed. He's jumping to block the field goal, doesn't even pay attention to Popovich coming up with the football. That was Amir Purifoy, a true freshman linebacker, was totally fooled by the fake field goal.
Joaquin Gonzalez threw one of the key blocks. 2nd and 10. Look out. Here comes the vintage Canes. Matt Sweeney with a sack. Miami's 3rd of the night.
We talked to Bill Miller yesterday, the defensive coordinator. He said Matt Sweeney has been very consistent for us all year. He hasn't been flashy, doesn't make a lot of big plays. That was a big play right there, but he's been a guy who has made plays and played very consistently for his defensive football team.
At his high school, he was the all-time leading receiver as a tight end. Flip side to the ball and playing effectively. They need to get just to at the 40 for a first down. Try to run it. And 10 yards of it chewed off by Kevin Barlow. But it is a punting situation for Pittsburgh. And the Panthers are deep in the danger zone now. Beware the Miami special teams. They're not done just yet.
Mike, Kenny Kelly may be coming in the game for Miami because Scott Covington went into the locker room after the last series. Let's see if number 15 comes on to play quarterback for Miami right now.
He will. The 39-yard line is where that ball is down. Kenny Kelly, baseball stud. Second-round draft pick of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. He spent the last 2 summers playing pro baseball in the Gulf Coast League. He's technically a walk-on here at Miami because the cost of attending the U of M was included in his baseball contract. But this is the quarterback of the future for Miami. Keen action in several of the Canes games this year. We'll check on Covington in the interim. James Jackson, the second-string tailback, is hit by Trey Creighton up from his cornerback spot. It'll be second down.
When the coaches talk about Ken Kelly, they talk about his talent, his ability, but they also talk about that he's uniquely mature. He's 18 years old, but the fact that he has played a professional sport, in this case baseball, he has a maturity and a leadership that he brings at a very young age. They are very, very excited about his future here as the quarterback at the University of Miami.
Second and 4 for Kenny Kelly and the Canes offense. Work that clock all the way down. First pass of the night. Everything was covered. He has good mobility. Throws the deep ball for Santana. Moss, who made the catch? Stays on his feet and is knocked down at the 11.
Larry Coker said that Kenny Kelly has that sixth sense about just making plays. He just has a feel for when to leave the pocket, and this is actually when he's most dangerous. But this was a play made by Santana Moss, who just made a better play on the football than the 2 Pittsburgh defenders that were in the position to make a play.
Moss at 5'11" once you get that ball. James Jackson turns the corner. Just short of the goal line. But it will be first and goal for Miami.
Take a look at the pulling guard. Richard Mercier does a nice job getting out on the corner. Trey Clayton. They do a good job of pulling their guards and leading with the fullback. Kind of the base play for this Miami power running game. And right now they're just wearing down the Pittsburgh football team. It's kind of like when the sharks smell blood in the water, man. They're kind of going after it right now.
First and goal. Jackson. Stop. Marlon Young, 92 at the bottom of the pile, and here's Sheriff.
As you take a look at Miami head coach Butch Davis, his starting quarterback, Scott Covington, is in the locker room as we speak. Now, he has a laceration underneath his chin. This is where the chin strap comes across. You see the young man, Kenny Kelly, in the football game. They're going to go ahead and suture the laceration shut for Scott Covington. Probably take 4, 5, 6 stitches. He should be back out within about 15 or 20 minutes after having his chin sit shut.
Doc, I'll tell you from experience, no quarterback who's truly worth his salt gets through playing quarterback without getting stitches in his chin. It's inevitable. If he hadn't had them already, he was bound to get them. Every quarterback I've ever known, at some point or another, gets stitches in the chin.
Some of them look better than others after the fact. Be right back. Phil Clark, the veteran and in terms of X's and O's leader of this Pittsburgh defense, on the sidelines. His backup, a freshman, Ryan Gonzalez, has been playing the last 2 games. He just left with an injury. So they're down to their 3rd string in the middle. On 2nd and goal, Kenny Kelly at quarterback. A little boot. Touchdown! Boy, did that look pretty. Dan Smith, the 3rd string tight end. So every tight end for Miami catching touchdowns tonight. That is Dan Smith's 1st catch of the season. And he's crossland on for the extra point. And just like that, 3 consecutive possessions with touchdowns for the Canes.
Nice job here by Kenny Kelly selling the play, really selling the fake. And the tight end is on the top of the screen. He's going to just cross the field, but the fake is what fooled the Pittsburgh defense, and that allowed Kelly to get outside and make the easy toss for the touchdown. Nice drive executed by Kenny Kelly, sells the fake, and then the easy flip to the tight end.
Well, Miami has exploded for 14 points in their last 6 plays. Kenny Kelly leads a touchdown drive, his 5th touchdown pass of the year. And the tight end Smith, who made the catch, is a member of the Miami baseball team. Right-handed pitcher. The pitcher was a catcher there. And Pittsburgh is in tough shape. The Panthers, who got beat up last week when they played at Temple, and any team that plays on that concrete surface at the Vet that for some reason hasn't been outlawed, they physically get beat up to begin with, and then play on a short week on the road at Miami. And it's a tough remainder of this game for Walt Harris and the Panthers. Hank Poteet will finally get a chance to catch one. Incredibly, didn't go down there, but it'll only end up being a 3-yard return to the 16. Next Thursday night, we'll spend Thanksgiving in Mississippi. How about the Egg Bowl on Turkey Day? Mississippi State takes on Ole Miss. Chance to see James Jack Johnson, the 7th leading rusher in the nation, 1,263 yards. Mississippi State Ole Miss, Thanksgiving night on ESPN. Coverage begins with Thursday Game Night, presented by Coors Light.
James Johnson, leading rusher in the SEC, banging it out for the Bulldogs.
Mississippi State still certainly alive in the SEC West, Chase. Pass is caught by Terry Murphy. He's pulled down to 25, and here's Jerry.
Well, inside linebacker Ryan Gonzalez, if you take a look at Covington coming back out of the locker room after having his chin sutured up, Ryan Gonzalez came off a moment ago with severe cramping in both legs. They're trying to get fluids in, but when you can't get fluids in quick enough, one of the new quick cures for cramps on the sidelines is a couple of Alka-Seltzers and 8 ounces of water. You give them that, and within 5 minutes, they're back in the football game.
What does that do for you, Jerry?
Well, I asked the doctors here about that. They said they've been using it all year long, and they said they're not really sure how it works or what it does, but it works. And ordinarily, you have to take them back in the locker room and put IV fluids in them and try to get caught up on the fluids. But Alka-Seltzer and 8 ounces of water, and they're back in, and it's been working apparently down here in the heat for quite a while.
The handoff for the first down across the 25 to Chris Fiola. I wonder who came up with the idea to try that first, the Alka-Seltzer on the sidelines. Whatever it takes. There's Covington, who has come back on the field. And that Band-Aid, big one. After getting sutured. First and 10 for the Panthers. Right on a nice first down pass. Get across midfield with the tight end, Juan Williams. His second catch of the night, that's 26 yards.
This is a real nice throw by Matt Lytle. A nice touch, zipping it into his tight end. Kind of slung it in there, almost sidearm on that one, but perfect throw to the tight end. Here's the tight end coming right into the middle of the field. And watch the nice touch throw by Lytle. Just flicks the wrist. You can see he's got a really strong arm. I mean, there's no question he has a big arm.
Lytle again to the air. Flushed out of the pocket. Just threw that one away. He wanted R.J. English to break back up the field, but he didn't catch the communication. Terry Murphy, the starting split end, is out now. He has a hamstring injury. So Grimm and Murphy, the top flanker and split end for Pittsburgh, are out of the lineup with injuries. And that was their only hope of staying in contention in this game to begin with, was throwing the ball effectively against Miami. And now they don't have their two top pass catchers.
Walt Harris told us on Tuesday it's scary how thin we are, and that was coming into the game when they thought they had their horses with them. And they are really playing with a short hand right now.
Second down, Lytle on the give to Barlow. And Kevin gets a couple of yards with Matt Sweeney.
Yeah, another nice play by Matt Sweeney. Again, not a flashy player, but stayed at home and read the draw, didn't leave his area. Did a really nice job of just hanging in there and making the play on the draw. Take a look at him. Here he is right here. Watch him just play in here and read the draw, play off the block, does a nice job in there on the inside of the Miami defense.
It's very descriptive of what you said before, the coaches said about Sweeney. Not the big superstar plays, but the things you count on and need from a defensive tackle. Lytle, a good pass hung on to by Kirk McMullen. Second catch of the year for the tight end. And his longest reception of the year, 21 yards.
Another good throw by Matt Lytle, this time having to go over the top of linebacker Nate Webster. Webster's in position, but just a perfect touch throw. That ball has to go up and over and then get down in time before the safeties get there. Really nice touch throw by Matt Lytle.
Tim Stein is checked into the game at the wide receiver spot. Lytle throws to Kenny Ketchen, the junior out of Mount Vernon, New York, who moves it inside the 20 to the 16-yard line. They are way, way down into the depth chart at all the receiver spots right now.
See, this is one of the areas where you see that Miami has not completely regained the depth that they used to have. You look at Florida and Florida State right now, they have tremendous depth on the defensive line. At this point, they'd be bringing in fresh defensive linemen to get after Matt Lytle. Miami's having to play with the same four down people right now.
Trying to get the first down on the ground with Barlow, and he gets to the 15-yard line, probably still a half yard short. Well, both of these coaching staffs have had to try to rework their programs dealing with limited numbers of players. Pittsburgh got so caught up when Johnny Majors was there of playing a lot of true freshmen because the program had really fallen into a state of disrepair, and their numbers for building depth were not there. Pittsburgh's thin in numbers. Now, Ketchen has come to the bench as well.
Murphy's back and Gibson's out.
3rd and 1. Barlow the first down. Spins across the 10. It will be 1st and goal.
Number 43.
Well, that's part of the reason for the numbers and the thin nature of Pittsburgh right now. And when your program is down, it's hard to get big name recruits and big recruits in there. And then on the Miami side, it's something we'll document in a little bit. Their probation, losing 30-plus scholarships. Now Butch Davis had to try to rebuild, but that's where you talk about Miami being thin on the defensive line.
Yeah.
Weedle out with a shoulder injury. Clark the turf show. On 1st and goal, Lytle, design keeper, he stays on his feet to the 5-yard line. Michael Smith, Jr. made the play. Some words exchanged as Panthers making it tougher on Lytle, who got banged up on that play.
Take a look at Matt Lytle running the option. He's going to keep it the whole way. I mean, there's no pitch, there's no give to the fullback. And you can see Matt Lytle, at times his emotions get the best of him, but right now, Pitt capitalizing on his lack of fight as they try to get one more in the end zone here.
Lytle hobbling around. Seconds mobility here on 2nd and goal. Nearly intercepted. Blades and Fitzgerald going after it.
You mentioned his lack of mobility. He looked like he was struggling a little bit, trying to get his hips back around to throw back across the other side of the formation. It was a designed throwback to try to fool the Miami defense, but as he tries to get in position, he didn't get his feet all the way around to make a good throw to Terry Murphy. Very lucky that one wasn't picked off.
Marquise Fitzgerald nearly had his first career ING. Play clock down at 5. 5 in the pattern. Lytle's pass incomplete. Trying to get to Ingram. Trying to stay alive right now, too.
Yeah, I think that was 2 plays in a row, Mike, where whatever it is that's bothering Matt Lytle physically, it affected his ability to set up and really set his feet into a position to make a good throw. You can see Walt Harris. You asked earlier, is this an advantage or a disadvantage? I think it's an advantage because you come right off and you're able to talk calmly to Walt Harris, and he's able to talk to you about what did or didn't happen out there.
22-yard field goal attempt for Nick Lotz. 0 for 1 on the year. 3rd field goal kicker used by the Panthers this year, and Lotz connects from 22 yards out. We'll step out. Panthers do get a field goal, and our new score is Miami 35, Pittsburgh 10. Well, come December 10th, the Orange Bowl will be 62 years old. They've been playing football here since 1937. Double-decked the place about 45 years ago. It held 5 Super Bowls here in the Orange Bowl. Miami, its home field, the Canes leading by 25. Walt Harris is in conversation with Matt Lytle. James Jackson's return across the 20 for the Canes.
You know, we keep seeing Matt Lytle there with Walt Harris, and the thing that Walt Harris kept saying to us all week, you know, when we talked to him this week, was that, you know, the thing he has to continually stress to Matt Lytle is to calm down. Just calm down and play the game, play the offense, run the thing. You know, he had a guy with that kind of temperament last year with Pete Gonzalez. And I mean, I know it's been kind of a tough year for Walt because Matt Lytle, he knows he has the ability, he has the talent and the skill, but sometimes just gets his emotions just get in the way of his execution. And it's been a constant battle for Walt Harris trying to keep him calm enough to run the offense.
Covington back at quarterback, hands to Edgerrin James. And Doc, how's Scott Covington doing?
Well, for those of you keeping stats at home on Covington, the last laceration on his chin was approximately 1 inch long, required 4 stitches to pull it together. And of course, back in the football game wearing that Todd Blackledge badge of courage bandage, he said all quarterbacks have to have until you to make yourself legitimate. Back in the football game, Todd, 4 stitches and none the worse for wear.
He's got the hard chin strap now, too. Gotta love that.
Kicking his 6 here is James for a few yards. What's the hardest hit you took as a quarterback? Either level, college or pro.
Oh, my goodness.
It obviously erased your memory.
Yeah, I don't remember. You know what? Tom Jackson hit me one time. Literally, yeah. He probably doesn't remember. He hit so many people. But he hit me one time just right up between the shoulder pads and the rib cage. And it was just one of those ones that knocked the wind out of you. And just, you know, that's an awful feeling anyway when you can't get your breath for about 30 seconds and it feels like you're 5 minutes. But he got me pretty good. Stood over top of me and that whole thing out there.
Believe me, TJ remembers every one of his hits. He tells us every Saturday and Sunday. Well, it was a little trickery. Popovich, the holder for the 2nd straight year, scores a touchdown on special teams against Pittsburgh. And then Kenny Kelly, the quarterback of Miami's future, comes in while Covington's getting stitched up, leads a touchdown drive. We head to the 4th, and the Canes lead by 25. We start the fourth quarter on Thursday Night Football. Mike Tirico, Todd Blackledge, Dr. Jerry Punch from the Orange Bowl in Miami. Long night for Pittsburgh. Canes leading 35-10, facing 3rd and 5 with Darryl Jones, the receiver, in motion. And Covington throws to Jones, who gets the first down at the 34-yard line. Go back to Jerry Punch.
Guys, we documented earlier tonight that Pittsburgh was very, very thin when it came to numbers. Well, they just got a little bit thinner. Behind me, junior split in Kenny Ketchum with that massive bandage on his left knee. The word is not good. A torn MCL and a torn cruciate ligament. They're not sure if it's the posterior cruciate or the anterior cruciate. If you were to hope, you would hope it was the PCL, not the ACL. They'll find out later tonight or maybe tomorrow morning on an exam up in Pittsburgh.
He joins the long line of injured players. The Ketchum story stands out by itself. Another pass to the tight end, Mandrell Fulcher. Kenny Ketchum only played organized football a couple of years. The kid who just injured his knee, age 26. He's the Desert Storm vet, served in the Navy, operations specialist on the USS Independence, the Kitty Hawk, the aircraft carrier. He played at the junior college last year. And
didn't even play high school football. You know, didn't start playing organized football until he went to Chaffee College. And the guy who really fought and worked and sacrificed. It's great to get a chance to play college football, and shame to see him hurt.
Edgerrin James breaking free. James to the 22-yard line. There's no slowing down the edge, who snaps off 39.
Well, he told us yesterday he likes running in the fourth quarter. He likes it when other people start to get tired. He considers himself to be a very well-conditioned athlete, takes great care of himself, and he gets stronger as the game goes on. This is a very tired Pittsburgh defense right now. Edgerrin James has been able to get a little rest with James Jackson in the game for a couple series, but he certainly does not look like he is a tired running back right now. Another nice series of cuts that time by Edgerrin James.
And another Panther injured on that play, Brandon Dewey, a true freshman, very highly recruited freshman out of Western Pennsylvania. So the injury problems continue to add up for Pittsburgh. Dewey is a 240-pounder who they would have liked to have redshirted, gotten another 20, 25 pounds on, but just could not because of the numbers. Very good to see the freshman get up on his feet. Once again, Jerry.
Guys, updating the Alka-Seltzer situation being used for cramps. I asked Pittsburgh head trainer Rob Blank how long you've used Alka-Seltzer. He said, Doc, about 25 minutes. He said, we heard about it last week from the Boston College medical staff, and they said it works. We had never heard of anything else you could use it. I certainly hadn't heard of it before. So we came to Miami in the heat and humidity and tried it in the first half, and son of a gun, it works. Alka-Seltzer, cup of and 8 ounces of water, and the cramps go away.
Who needs the New England Journal of Medicine?
Medical breakthrough at the OB.
That's why you've got the doc on the sideline. James looking for 100 yards and should be over the century mark with that carry. Todd, at the very top of the show, you pointed out Edgerrin James picking up steam as the second half of the season goes on. That would be 4 straight over 100.
Well, when the season began, he was trying to make every run a big play. And when he finally settled down and they finally convinced him that, hey, just make the 4-yard run. Make 4-yard runs, and eventually the 50 and 60-yard run will happen. Once he started taking it that way and having that perspective, he became a much better back.
James, who with that last carry also went over 1,000 yards. He got to 1,001 before that carry, and he may have lost a yard or two there and fallen under the 1,000 mark. I was just about to say how James becomes the first back in Miami history to have 2 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Exactly 1,014 right now. You mentioned this season getting better, 4 consecutive 100-yard performances for James. The way he runs it within a game. The game keeps going. He seems to get better. Steph Hornack in on that tackle.
Mike, you mentioned earlier, this is a conference that has really produced some very nice running backs this year. Mike Cloud of Boston College, you take a look at his numbers. Amos Zaraway at West Virginia early on was a Heisman consideration when the season began. But Edgerrin James, you can see he doesn't have as many rushes as either one of those two guys. But he has really been productive here the last month or so of the season.
Crossland from 30 yards. Sends through his 5th field goal of the season. First of the night. James follows Cloud and Zaraway. They go head-to-head on ESPN at noon on Saturday. It's been the Edge tonight.
ESPN's presentation of Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car, and by MetLife. Get Met, it pays.
Well, down in South Beach tomorrow at the News Cafe, the ultimate place for a little latte, lunch, and newspapers. They'll be reading about the Edge. Edgerrin James, again over 100 yards for the 12th time in his Miami career. Only Otis Anderson has done it more. James is a junior.
I really like him, Mike. You know, the game means a lot to him. You can really tell that. I mean, the way he works on the practice field, in the meeting rooms, his preparation, his work in the weight room. I mean, he's very serious about what he's doing, and boy, he plays well. He can do everything.
Like him a lot. Todd Severs, kickoff to the goal line, taken by Hank Poteet. Poteet had to work really hard just to get to the 16-yard line. Well, with this victory tonight, if all things stay the same, Miami will move to 5-1. The only other team in the conference with one loss is Syracuse. Miami goes to the Carrier Dome next week. But in the Carrier Dome last Saturday on ESPN2, what a game between the Orangemen and Virginia Tech. 5 seconds left. After Syracuse lost a bunch of yards on 1st and goal from the 1, Donovan McNabb, who was dehydrated and sick, rolled to his right. Syracuse has used this play hundreds of times. Throw back to the other side to the tight end, Stephen Brominski, the game-winning touchdown. Paul Pasqualoni's team escaped 28-26 and kept alive their hopes of the conference championship. Paul had a very good quote. He said, even I was happy at the end of that game. Kind of having a little chuckle with Paul's usually business-like demeanor on the sideline. That game had one of the most incredible stats I've ever seen. Syracuse ran 88 plays, Virginia Tech 38. And it came down to the last play to perhaps set up that Big East title game at the Dome next Saturday.
Well, Virginia Tech scored a touchdown off a block kick, and their defense scored a touchdown like they've done all year.
Pass to Kirk McMullen is complete. Syracuse does have to play at Temple on Saturday against the Owls option offense, which has certainly been a pain for a lot of teams this year, seeing a little bit different Temple, but there may be distractions on the Temple sidelines this week. Bobby Wallace, their head coach, has been mentioned prominently in the discussions of the opening at Auburn.
You know, in this short week, I mean, it's kind of a two-edged sword because it was tough for Miami and Pitt to come off a game last Saturday and get ready for this game and heal up to play.
Pass for English incomplete.
But the flip side of that now for Miami is that they have a couple extra days in preparation for that game against Syracuse. They have extra time to get ready and to wait for that football game. So it was tough getting ready for this one, but they've come through it and have played pretty well tonight. And I think it's going to be a good ball game when they do play Syracuse. I think Miami is the best team in the Big East, but I think Donovan McNabb is the best player in the Big East. So, I mean, they definitely have to contend with what he can do.
4 wide receivers for 2nd and 10 to the 28. Try to run with everybody spread out. It goes nowhere. People are going to complain when either Miami or Syracuse, or still a slight possibility of Virginia Tech, West Virginia, represent the Big East in one of the 8 slots for the Bowl Championship Series. But we talked to Butch Davis about it yesterday and said, hey, these 4 teams beat up each other. There's no super team out of them. They're good teams. They beat each other up. And one of them is going to go up against conference champs that have had nationally great seasons in the Bowl Championship Series and reap the financial rewards of the multi-million-dollar game. Lytle throws on the run. And Murphy took a hard hit as he had to go airborne for the incomplete pass. And there were years where the AFC Central champ was 8-8, or the NFC Central champ was 8-8, and they still made the playoffs. And you have to think of it in the same way. And it's frustrating to, let's say Tennessee goes to the BCS representing the SEC. Florida fans say, well, we're better than these Big East teams. The rules of the game. DeBolt. Santana Moss on the bounce. Flag is down as Moss gains 13 on his return. Pushing and shoving. Nick Ward and Chiffon Allen of Pitt. Kick was 36 yards. It will come back. Perhaps Nick Ward involved in the infraction. So Miami will start a little deeper in its own territory, but the Canes are in great shape, leading by 28. We're going to talk about how Butch Davis has rebuilt the Canes. Well, Butch Davis turned 47 on Tuesday. He's won 2 out of every 3 games as the Miami head coach. 28-14. That record should improve here tonight. He sends Kenny Kelly out to quarterback the Canes on this first down drive. With James Jackson as the running back. He got about 9 yards, close to a first down. Amir Purifoy made the tackle. Well, Miami, because of its probation, lost 31 scholarships. Over the last 2 seasons, they had to be creative about getting players in this program to try to speed up the rebuild. And through deferred enrollments, asking players not to come into school until January, kind of stay home for a semester after high school, non-football scholarships, and a couple of walk-ons, they've been able to get the numbers up quicker than perhaps other schools have when they've been in a similar situation of losing scholarships because of probation. Kenny lost the snap. Kelly got it back. It was pulled down by Seth Hornack, the junior strong safety.
Yeah, Butch thought that that some of those strategies that they've used have maybe put them a year ahead of schedule. I mean, the projection was that they would be back up to the 85 scholarship limit by 2000. He thinks maybe now they'll be there by 1999. So they have been pretty creative in doing some different things, and they still have been able to get some good players. That's the other thing that's important here. It's not that they just found anybody to give scholarships to or get to come to Miami. They still got a lot of good quality players that wanted to come and play football and help take Miami back to the top again.
3rd and 10, and Kenny Kelly, one of those walk-ons who came in on a baseball scholarship or a baseball Major League contract money, along with Andre King. That's how these walk-ons are helping to rebuild the Miami program. More on this when we come back. Timeout Canes right here. Welcome back. Miami faces a 3rd and 10. We mentioned Andre King and Kenny Kelly, baseball players who are using the money that you make as a pro to go to school. Be a professional in one sport. Still retain your amateur status for this sport. Kelly got hit and leveled by Marlon Young, senior out of Miami, Florida. Even though it's a 28-point game, it's got to be a thrill for the alum of Miami Senior High School to get a sack in the Orange Bowl.
Well, here's Marlon Young right now. Watch him come off the corner. And they made a mistake in their protection. Rather than have a tackle come out to get Marlon Young, they asked James Jackson, a tailback, to block Marlon Young. That's a mismatch.
Andy Crossland's kick is caught by a falling Hank Poteet at the 39-yard line. 39-yard punt. And here's Jerry again.
You guys were talking about the effort that Butch Davis has put in basically to rebuild Miami. They are back at 75 scholarships, some 10 under the number. But how about a guy in Oxford, Mississippi, Tommy Tuberville, who last year, according to recollection, had 56, 57 guys on scholarship and took a football team to the Motor City Bowl. And guys, that's where we're going to be headed next Thursday night. We're going to watch those Rebels stroll through the Grove in Oxford on Thanksgiving night.
Yeah, bragging rights in the Magnolia State. James Johnson leading Mississippi State against Tommy Tuberville's Ole Miss team. Thanksgiving night treat. That pass falls incomplete. We're looking for Murphy. Well, Todd, we started the game talking about this with Miami. How far are the Canes back? And over the next 3 weeks, certainly this is a game they should have won, favored to win, and are winning. We'll see what happens in the Syracuse game next Saturday. And then on ESPN, on December 5th, the hurricane-delayed game as UCLA comes in here to take on Miami. Kevin Barlow with a run. That's a first down run for Barlow to the 48. It'll be a tough ticket here in the Orange Bowl on December 5th. Our overhead coverage tonight, courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. If you want to learn more about the Goodyear Blimps, you can check them out at www.goodyear.com. Or go to the Blackledge household, and Todd will take you by the Blimp Hangar in Akron, Ohio. Check out the Spirit of Akron. Lytle to the air on first down, incomplete for Murphy. You know, that UCLA game, Todd, could affect all 4 of the BCS bowls because UCLA could still be pushing for an undefeated season and be a part of the national championship picture. Miami is the Big East champ, where they go, what bowl they go to. A lot of intrigue in that game that, because of, you know, Mother Nature, got moved to the end of the season.
And, you know, the Miami people talked about their players were disappointed when that game got canceled. They wanted to play UCLA coming off the tough loss to Florida State. But I'll tell you, they're better off playing them when they're going to play them because, they're going to be a better football team. I mean, you got to remember, again, how young this team is. I mean, 65 players have seen action this year for Miami. And of that, 39 or 60% are underclassmen, freshmen and sophomores. So these guys are just getting better and better each week. It's a very, very young football team that every game they can get under the belt just is going to help them and help their experience. But they will be a much better football team on December 5th than they would have been playing UCLA earlier in the year.
There you see the depth by class, just the 2 deeps, starters and the backups, only 6 seniors on this Miami group. 2nd and 10 for Lytle. A little miscommunication with Barlow, and Lytle will just get down after getting a couple of yards. And remember, that UCLA game would have come right after Virginia Tech, one of the 2 losses this year, and that was a heartbreaking overtime loss for Miami. Seen here on ESPN, 27-20 to the Hokies. That was a game where Miami had turnovers on 5 consecutive possessions, and they found a way to lose that game. You always say the team found a way to win. They found a way to not win that one. 3rd and 9 for Lytle and the Panthers. The coverage by Marquise Fitzgerald on the pass that falls incomplete. Punting time again. Fitzgerald, a redshirt freshman, just like Edward Reed back in that secondary. Blades and Myers are sophomores. It's the starters, not the second string in there, some of the youth. Another kick for Greg DeBolt. No fair catch. Moss able to keep his feet at the 10 and went nowhere. 40-yard punt for DeBolt. ESPN the Magazine. New edition is out on the newsstands. College Hoop Review featuring Elton Brand of #1 Duke. Also plenty of info on college football and the upcoming BCS decision weekends. ESPN the Magazine on newsstands now. Miami, Florida, middle of November. A couple of unseasonably mild days, even for Miami at this time of year. And Edgerrin James has stayed just as hot. Going over 1,000 yards for the season with another 100-plus yard effort. And he's turned the running over to Najee Davenport, who stays on his feet and runs to the 34 24 yards for the redshirt freshman at Central High School here in Miami.
A couple of these coaches coached at Oklahoma State and in Oklahoma, and they feel like Najee Davenport is a lot like a guy named Marcus Dupree, who played in Oklahoma. A young guy, big, 6'2", 235 pounds. They feel that he may ultimately be as good, if not better, than all three of the guys they have. They have great depth at the tailback position this year, no question.
In 5 games at Miami Central High, he had 15 touchdowns. And you know the quality of football down here. That's saying something. Didn't get much there. Doff, the captain of the Pittsburgh defense, still hitting, still pursuing. Trey Creighton, made that play.
You know, one thing you can say about Pittsburgh is, you know, they're tired, they're thinned out, they've gotten beaten up tonight, but they continue to play hard. And I mean, that's impressive to me, you know, and it's impressive about a coaching staff that guys will still play hard in the midst of some very adverse circumstances. And you know, this team has lost some close games. Now, obviously, this game was not a close game once it got into the second half.
Kelly to the air, throws to Andre King. A couple of baseball players hook up on that one for the first down. King was a second-round pick of the Braves.
Let's take a look at Kenny Kelly on the play action. The good quick feet, pretty quick release, and again, the strong arm. Throwing to the sideline. He's a guy that has a lot of ability, a lot of talent. And maybe what's going to separate him is they feel that his greatest strength or skill is that sixth sense, that innate ability to feel pressure, to escape, to make plays when things break down.
Good numbers for Kelly, getting some passing game experience. As his throw for James Jackson was incomplete, but the marker's down. It's an illegal procedure on Miami. You know, Andre King, who caught the last pass, in going through the Miami stuff before this game, one of them, that certainly a note I've never made about a player before.
Offense, 5 men in the backfield, 5-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
Andre King missed the Syracuse game last year to get married. It's in the Braves organization, all right? So they set a wedding date, and then he comes back. He'd originally signed a national letter of intent with Michigan. He comes back to play football, comes here to Miami. Well, the wedding date was set for the Syracuse weekend. So he missed the game for his wedding. He will not miss the game for his wedding this year. Kelly to the air. Nearly a catch by the tight end who caught the touchdown earlier, Dan Smith.
And I'm sure Andre King has just earned a lot of fan support from all the women who are watching tonight. Nice decision. Do I honor Coach, or do I honor my future wife? Good decision by Andre King.
November's a busy time. He turns 25 a week from today on Thanksgiving. With a 5-year Major League Baseball career. 2nd and 15 with Davenport as the deep back. Play clock had not run down.
Dead ball, false start, offense. 5 yards, repeat the down.
Well, the story tonight for Butch Davis's Hurricane team is the same story that's been over the last month. You know, it's been give the ball to Edgerrin James, find a way to get him the football. Outstanding night tonight.
There's been some great rushing performances in this conference this year. Mike Cloud's not going to get to 2,000 like he had said he was going to before the season, but won't be too far away. Darroway's been big in West Virginia's big game. Tonight, Edgerrin James, nearly 200 yards of total offense.
Well, the action started early for Edgerrin. Here, the throwback pass, perfectly executed. That went for a touchdown, and then the good inside running and good vision downfield, making people miss, using his blockers, and then the power and strength down by the goal line. mean, he is a complete package. The other thing we didn't see in that package he did a nice job of was picking up the blitz and pass protection. He is a complete running back, no question.
On third down, deep drop for Kelly. Nice delivery across the middle to Aaron Moser, the sophomore out of Missouri. A rare catch for him. Well, there are the numbers against the last 4 opponents in the conference. As you mentioned, outrushing Zaraway and Cloud and Temple, which came in as the Big East leading rushing unit. And tonight, 106 yards against the Pittsburgh defense, ranked 20th in the nation and 2nd in the conference in overall defense. Flag down as Tim Stein caught the punt. The 2-yard, 6-foot halo was violated. So we'll add 5 yards to where the punt was caught. Seventh Miami penalty of the night.
5 yard violations, the 2-yard halo, 5-yard penalty, first down.
We'll step out inside of 4 minutes. 4th quarter at the Orange Bowl. The Canes on their way to another win. Dan Patrick and Kenny Mayne are standing by, probably moving down to the Sports Center studio right now. Tell you about the National League MVP voting. Sosa and McGuire. Upsets in the top 10 in college hoops, and Alonzo Spellman speaks with Andrea Kramer. That is coming up on Sports Center right after the game. Matt O'Connor, junior from Ohio, in at quarterback. And on first down, his running back carries the load. It's been a good night for Kevin Barlow on the ground. There's O'Connor, junior, thrown 21 passes this year, won 4 touchdowns. Lytle's night is done. Took a beating a little bit. O'Connor, one of the many junior college transfers on this Pittsburgh team. Walt Harris has used his West Coast ties to try to supplement some of the Pittsburgh numbers. Barlow across midfield. And Barlow continues to drag Miami defenders to the 32. James Lewis had to pull him down, but 37 yards for Kevin.
I've really been impressed with Barlow tonight. I think he's run extremely well. He hasn't hesitated when he's run the football, and he's had a very nice night for the Pitt offense. Out of Pittsburgh Peabody High School, one of the city schools there in the city of Pittsburgh. I've been impressed with him. He hasn't wasted any time getting in the hole and getting north and south.
Barlow over 100 yards. O'Connor to the end. That pass is intercepted by Mike Rump. Miami freshman DB comes up with the INT. He's a true freshman.
See, what Matt O'Connor has to think about here is you've got the coverage you want, but you've got to throw this ball to the outside. Don't throw it to the inside, because that's where the defender has the advantage. Throw it over the outside shoulder, so either your guy catches it or nobody catches it. Don't throw the ball back to the inside, because that allows the defender to make an easier play on the ball.
First time O'Connor's been intercepted in his few snaps this year. Kenny Kelly back under center for Miami and gives to Najee Davenport. Gets a few. Since we may not see Pittsburgh on offense again, we should point out Kevin Barlow's night of 107 rushing yards for Barlow. That is the single season best rushing performance by Pittsburgh on the ground this year. Brandon Williams, the freshman, had a $106 against Temple, but scratch that. It's Barlow with 107.
You know, Miami's run defense only allowed one other guy to go over 100 yards. That was Amos Zaraway, had 113. So, pretty impressive night tonight by Kevin Barlow.
Not much room there for Davenport. Pittsburgh closes its season against West Virginia at Three Rivers Stadium next Friday. Speaking of Three Rivers Stadium and the Steelers, with Pittsburgh Panthers. It's interesting. We're going to see perhaps a good next step in the Pitt program for Walt Harris, a facility that both the Steelers and Panthers will use. It'll be on the south side, a couple of miles away from the Pitt campus. That could allow them to get Pitt Stadium back to natural turf, but more importantly, will get their facilities up where they need to be to try to be competitive.
Yeah, the way they're talking about it, they're very excited. It's going to be a state-of-the-art facility. Both teams will have their own part in that facility: locker rooms, meeting rooms, weight rooms, grass practice fields, and in the center of it all will be a state-of-the-art sports medicine facility, the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center.
Dan and Kenny coming up with SportsCenter just in a couple of moments. Davenport is held in check here in our final 90 seconds. Knight and Pegram in on the tackle. Punting situation for Miami.
One of the things that Walt Harris told us the other day was last year he had a group of seniors that had great resolve. They had been through the bad times and they had been through the battles, and they really wanted to win last year. And they were able to win games in the fourth quarter that this year's team has not been able to win. And he didn't think he had guys like that this year, but these guys will have gone through that now this year. When they get ready to play football next season, a lot of these young guys who are playing for Pittsburgh now, they will have had a taste of these tough times and have a little more resolve to them.
Hank Poteet pulled down. Pittsburgh will try to take another couple of shots at scoring here in the final 68 seconds. Miami's lead is 28 in our final 68 seconds. Whistles blow. It's the second flag on the Panthers tonight. That hasn't been their problem. They've been outgained 502 to 272 by Miami.
Dead ball, false start, offense, 5 yard, mains, first down.
And here is the good doctor.
Guys, you talk about the turnaround here in Miami. We talked to the players early in the week, and to a man, the players, each and every one, gave a lot of credit to Tom Moffitt, the new strength and conditioning coach who came down from Tennessee. Here's a look at some of the conditioning program they underwent in the summer. Excruciating. Yeah, a lot of them got sick, and they got sick quite often, but it has certainly paid off for this Miami football team. In fact, there's a look at some of the guys who were a major part of it. Now, Nate Webster, this was a totally volunteer workout. Nate Webster and Dan Morgan, those two linebackers you're looking at there, made sure everyone came. In fact, there was perfect attendance for all the regular Miami players. And if one guy couldn't make it, Webster was banging on his door to find out why. Not a coach, no one else in the department, but Nate Webster, those guys banging on the door saying, why weren't you there today at a volunteer program? Tom Moffitt, a major part of the turnaround here, and they even put out a calendar, a huge calendar, all these guys working out, called it Men of Summer.
Nate comes knocking, I'm showing up to work out, that's for sure. Pittsburgh's down to the 36-yard line. We'll sneak in the E-Trade players of the game. Kevin Barlow for his 117 rushing yards now, and Edgerrin James of Miami, 196 total yards and 3 touchdowns. E-Trade players of the game. Pittsburgh has stopped the clock. They want to take another shot at the end zone, try to cut into this 28 Miami lead. So good to visit Miami again. Good trip to South Florida as the Canes have successfully kept their end of the bargain, gotten revenge against Pitt for last year. Keep moving towards the Big East Championship that they hope to win. 4th and 4 here for Pittsburgh. Connor's pass falls incomplete, so Miami will take one snap, take a knee, and take you to SportsCenter with Dan and Kenny, all the highlights of everything that's gone on today. Mr. Blackledge, we will see you in the postseason. Mike Gottfried's with us next week in Mississippi, but we've had a great time.
It has been fun, but it will be fun having Thanksgiving with my family, too. I will enjoy that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We will certainly miss you. Glad to have Mike on board. In Oxford next week for Mississippi State. But we're glad you were here because you ate more stone crabs at Joe's last night than Gottfried would have.
The jumbo ones were in season. That was strong last night.
Our buddy Hank Goldberg took care of us. You'll see the Hammer on our NFL coverage this weekend. Well, we've come to Miami to see if the Canes are back. We're taking every step along the way to show that. Now 7-2, 5-1, and if they win at Syracuse on Saturday next, they will be the champions of the Big East. Edgerrin James, nearly 200 yards of total offense on the night, including 3 touchdowns. He set the tone with 1 early. Miami's defense was effective, and special teams added to the cause as well. They win by 28. With Todd Blackledge, Dr. Jerry Plunch, and our entire Thursday night crew, Mike Tirico. Thanks for watching this presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now, here's SportsCenter.